allowance, 5.5 furlong sprint, and most of the money on the inside with Figueretti.
I don't get it. I don't like Figueretti. I thought Figueretti had a little bit of a pace disadvantage. I'd rather have more forwardly placed horses. I know the 6 is sort of a weirdo, but even the 2 who can be more forwardly placed, I'm surprised this horse is a short price, and I'd be more interested in horses like the 2 and 4. I think this horse is a massive underlay here.
Even someone like the 5 put forth a good effort last time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Awesome Flay. How does Bobby Flay? Oh, it's Flay Mignon is the dam. An awesome slew.
Well named. You can play all the action by getting signed up. Started with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to nairabets.com. Get signed up and started, including this third here at Tampa Bay, our first live action of the afternoon. While all this money, public loves this runner on the inside, a 6-year-old who won for just the 4th time in 26 career starts last time out. Not exactly one who puts together wins back-to-back.
I want to book her at 8-5. I'll get her in the winner's circle. Him in the winner's circle.
Jason Beam with the call to kick off our live coverage on this Friday afternoon.
They're in the gate. And the race is on. Feast and Bahamian Moon go out first to the early advantage. 1.5 more back to Triplante, who now comes up into that 3rd position. But it is going to be Feast to lead him up the back stretch, a 1/2 length in front. Bahamian Moon in the 2nd position. Triplante is 3rd, out wide. Time Machine right up alongside of Awesome Play. They're 4th and 5th. The favorite Figueretti is 6th in the trailer, but only 3.5 cover the group. As up front, Feast and Bahamian Moon take him to the far turn. Those two separated by just ahead as Bahamian Moon now goes to the front. It's 2.5 more lengths then. Back to Awesome Flay. Time Machine up on the outside, trying to move with that one. Inside of horses, Triplante is back 5th. Figueretti still the trailer, still just 4 or 5 lengths front to back. Figueretti going to switch all the way to the outside. They come to the top of the stretch. Bahamian Moon is the leader. Here comes Figueretti charging out 4 deep, coming after this long-time leader. Feast toward the inside, tries to rally up between horses Triplante and Awesome Flay. Just over a furlong left to go, and here comes Figueretti right down the crown of the track. Antonio Gallardo and Figueretti. Feast coming up the inside, going to battle that one for the final 100 yards. Figueretti a neck in front. Feast tries to go with the favorite Figueretti, and Feast, they hit the wire. Figueretti held on. Feast was 2nd. 3rd looked to be Bahamian Moon holding off Awesome Flay. It is a photo there for 3rd.
Easier than looked in terms of the margin of victory here. Figueretti, this is a big performance for the level.
I told you I'd get him home. 8-5, circle the field and gets it done just over Feast. Kind of interesting ride on Feast. Had the lead. The 3 was aggressively ridden, gave it up, and came back on down the inside. But Figueretti, 8-5. We didn't see it.
Public was all over it. We'll bring you those prices. Goes off as the heavy favorite in that 3rd at Tampa. Let's get back to that feature later today here in New York. 7th race. Fillies, mares 4 and up. New York breds, an allowance optional claiming field. And we touched on Lady Mine briefly for Jeremiah Engelhardt. So 3 consecutive wins. Winning as the favorite last time out. All on muddy or sloppy sealed tracks.
Right, and we're not dealing with that here. And we're also dealing with a track, yesterday the rail was very good. And I know we've had a little bit of snow, but it seems to have stopped actually. So it looks like we have some clear sailing going through. And this is a horse that really likes these wet sealed tracks and getting good paces to run at. The pace here is a little bit murky. The field quality is much stronger. And while you have to admire her consistency, I just think this is a much tougher spot for a horse that'll probably get overbet because people like horses off of wins.
And she, as mentioned, she's got 3 of them. She's also a question mark at the distance. It's 7/8 of a mile today. She's 0-2 in the money. 9-2 morning line, and with that streak, maybe go off shorter than that. Meanwhile, Brad Cox, he is going to bring in the 4-year-old filly Midtown Lights off the bench. She has not been seen since June of last summer.
And she's my pick in this race. My general feeling with her is that we're going back to a race of hers in March. When she was good, she was running figures in the mid-70s, early in her 3-year-old career. She got a needed break, and with a sort of normal improvement, she could run figures in the 80s off of these races, which would make her very tough in here. We've seen Brad Cox do this off layoffs before, and I'm hopeful that she's going to benefit from that freshening. And the price should be fair. I thought, though, like you, Greg, it was a wide-open race. You like Gone and Forgotten. She's certainly a player here.
Yeah, that's the 5. Dylan Davis will be back on board there. Ran second at a mile last time out, slightly shortening up to 7/8 today. It's a competitive 7th race. We'll have that as our feature later in the card, 3:47 Eastern start time for that 7th as we take a look at today's action presented by Claiborne Farm. So races 3 through 8 to come on the fast going here in South Ozone Park. In Tampa Bay, races 4 through 9. Start of that late pick 5 begins in the 5th. Fast, and they're off the turf today at Tampa Bay.
I think that was only one race, though, right?
It
Just
was.
the 5th is the only scheduled turf race.
Play it all. Again, with Naira Bets, that offer for new members, there it is. That $200 deposit match. New customer bonus with that code, match 200 at sign up. So punch that in, and you're ready to roll at nairabets.com. We're 8 minutes to post. Race 3 here at Aqueduct. There's Mel's Angel. Lane Luzzy has the mount for Melanie Giddings. We'll get Lasix today and try and that first career win. 6th time out. Post parade when we come back. Back with you on America's Day at the Races. Brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual. Unusually, well, the music threw me. I have not heard this before.
Well, they're getting up with the modern times. You know, even in the miserable winter weather, it looks beautiful.
It really does. Maybe even more so. It's an incredible shot right there. As we get a look from up above here at Aqueduct, get set for this 3rd race coming up. Kicks off the pick 6. New York Breds, maiden claiming 1-turn mile coming up, and she's braver than we are out in the snow. Let's check in for the first time today with Maggie Wolfendale.
Well, Greg, at least here at Aqueduct, I do find some good places to hide and take cover as, yes, horses are set and ready with them making their way to the track now. We'll start with your favorite, or one of the favorites, as we head towards post time in the outside runner in Mel's Angel. Now, she's done very well with racing, to be honest. I haven't seen her in quite a while since she actually made her debut up in Saratoga, and she just wasn't fit that day. She's become so much more athletic and streamlined and really strong in her hind end. So with the stretch out, I'm hoping that they are fairly aggressive with her, because to be honest, I feel like that's the only way she wins this race. I know she closed well last time in that sprint, but she is built more like a sprinter. but I do see where the mile could be to her liking. So we'll see how she does. The horse that looked best, though, is hitting the track, and that's number 5, Handle on You, who did not run well last time out. Let's see what she does getting back to a track that is labeled as fast, as last time it was muddy and sealed, but really strong, really solid. Just looked as though she was doing the best from the overall standpoint, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Here they come onto the track for the post parade, and we're up to the 5. Handle on You at 9-2.
Well, this is the horse that I kind of liked. I mean, I know we've gotten some snow, but the track doesn't, it's not sealed, and I think this horse doesn't run well on a sealed track.
Bell's Tolling has had 4 opportunities, shown very little.
Even in this race, she looks a little slow.
Does get blinkers, adds LASIK, so some changes. Love Thyself, Katie Davis on board.
I tried to make a case for this horse after she showed speed last time, but what about her makes you think she can get the distance?
Tough to take 3-1 here. This is Mel's Angel, who was a very distant third at the level last start.
Well, you got a double name, Mel and Angel. So they're all going in there for this one. This is a crazy short price on this horse. Draws an outside post in a track that might be a bit inside-y. Has to get the mile. I mean, I don't have a problem if you want to like this. 5-2 now.
Way too short. Obviously, the 2 Song of Solomon we'll try and get a look at. That's, well, favored now, the 8. 2... I don't expect going to be the post time favorite. We'll see. And Dame Catherine contender as well. We'll try and get a look at both in a minute. Free Equibase past performances. Get all the stats of the horses, jockeys, trainers. Go to NYRA.com/TV schedule and download your free PPs. So there is Song of Salamini. Stretched out, start number 3 after 2 sprints on a muddy sealed track last time out. It was adding blinkers, was 61-1 and just got beat.
And Salamini, who's standing up at McMahon Thoroughbreds up in Saratoga, just had a tremendous first year. And he's a very exciting New York bred sire. You know, you think they're standing both him and Central Banker, and they recently added Bucharo. So got some pretty strong stallions there. And you can say he's a last time, or she's a last time was the time, almost winning at 60-1. But why isn't she logical in here? She's probably going to get good inside position. And, you know with Trevor McCarthy, he's going to look to take advantage of the track. So she's a very logical horse for a barn that's going super well.
It took a couple of different shots in that race. Had to battle with the 4, completely checked out of it in the stretch. Had to battle with Dame Catherine, who's to her outside today, was able to outfinish that horse. So there's some things to like, some tenacity she showed in that performance.
Well, why is she the same price as the 8? I have no problem with somebody who may like the 8. I'm not going to knock any opinion in this race. But I don't think, and I have some friends that like the 8, but I think every one of them would say to me, well, I didn't think this horse would be the same price as Song of Salamini. And it's about trying to handicap races, but it's also about trying to find some sense of value and understanding that the 8 may drift up to 7-2, but I don't even know if she's a great bet at that price.
For more, let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, checking in with number 2 in here, Song of Salamini. First time laying eyes on her. Her first 2 races disappointing, but as you guys have mentioned, her last one certainly gives her a shot. I don't know if it's 2-1 worthy, that performance, but look, she's gotten an aggressive warm-up as we're used to seeing from jockey Trevor McCarthy, so he's going to be aggressive as he was likely last time, and I think that he found out that, putting her on or close to the lead, it emboldens her quite a bit. Now, that was on a muddy sealed track, and I'm mentioning the track a bit here because standing now next to it, trackside, it is quite deep. It's that, typical winter track where they can't put any moisture in it, obviously, because it would freeze. But the snow, it makes it fluffy / very deep for these horses. So I think there's a certain type that handles it and a certain type that, or as Andy said, the track will play favorably a certain way. It could play well into her hands, but again, that last effort did come on a muddy sealed surface. Now, Dame Catherine, coming out of that same race, I thought she hung pretty badly, to be fair. She had every, instance to go by, and she just never really did. She got the right kind of setup behind that speed duel, and she will get LASIK, and she's one that, truly strikes me as wanting the distance. She's a little bit one pace, a little bit of a plotter, but I would not ignore her at 7-2, guys.
Betting is all over the place here. Dame Catherine, as you just said off air, favorite in doubles, favorite
She was
favored in the
fourth
pick
choice.
3 as well.
She was fourth choice. Now she's fourth choice right now at 4-1. Obviously, those pools don't light up for some obvious reasons, but that's surprising. And I agree with Maggie. I thought Dame Catherine had every chance last time, and I just think Song of Solomon ran a better race than she did.
See what happens here in the rematch. Kicks off the pick 6. We go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
2 out. Love Thyself and Mel's Angel to the outside. Will be set for the start of the pick 6. Mel's Angel to the outside. And in. All set. And they're off. Bad stumble to the outside with Mel's Angel, and also Song of Solomini stumbled at the start. So the inside and the outside stumbled at the break. Dame Catherine is up with the early kick, and there's Handle on You is going to be in the 3 path as Song of Solomini is now tracking right in behind those pace setters as they get set to come out of the chute. Towards the far outside, that's Love Thyself and Mel's Angel, second to last. Tightly bunched here with Bells tolling the trailer, but only 2.5 lengths would cover them all. They're chasing Dame Catherine. Dame Catherine's got the lead, is only ahead in front as here comes pressure from Handle on You, is right towards the outside, is ready to pressure this pace setter. They went 24-3 for that opening quarter mile. Song of Solomini is now collected here, is in the 3rd position, continues to save ground here towards the inside as they approach a half mile left to go. Bells tolling is right there. Love Thyself is a touch wide for Katie Davis, but starts to make a move, and Mel's Angel is 4 wide in that second grouping as they work into the far turn now with less than a half mile to go. They went 50.54 for the half mile time. Dame Catherine is trying to take them all the way. It's Dame Catherine trying to shrug off. Handle on You is doing just that. Song of Solomini is all in. So is Bells tolling. Mel's Angel and Love Thyself trying to rally on, but here's Handle on You, who's back for more. Dame Catherine is only a nose in front as Handle on You is now back in front, and here's Handle on You to put a neck in front. Handle on You as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Dame Catherine is coming right back to the inside. These two at the top of the stretch. Song of Solomini is 5 lengths back there in third as Handle on You is trying to put it away. It's Handle on You who's now up by a length and a half as they approach final furlong. Handle on You, a very clear second is Dame Catherine. Dame Catherine still coming back towards the inside. The front two are well clear. It's Handle on You trying to put it away. Dame Catherine is resurgent to the inside. Dame Catherine going to make it tight here at the line. Handle on You, Dame Catherine down, and it's Handle on You who will hang on. Handle on You might have seen a rival down towards the inside. Coming back was Dame Catherine. Those front two were well clear of Bells tolling, who finished third in 1 minute 48.39 seconds.
Handle on You. Do you care to explain what happened off camera?
It wasn't totally dissimilar in the first race where a similar thing happened, but, I mean, it looked like Handle on You had put the 3 away. Now, I think we've talked about how yesterday the rail was very good, and I do think this is an example of how strong the rail is. But, I mean, Greg, this was over. I mean, she passed her. She's got to be, what, a length and a half in front at this point? I mean, that's a solid length and a half. She's
looked like it was over and shut.
Yeah,
case.
I mean, and the other horse came back, looked like she was going to win, and then I guess Handle on You was maybe hanging on the front end, and she got sort of resurged on the outside. But I also don't think you can discount how valuable it is to be able to be on this rail, because even though the horse didn't win, certainly gave her best chance in here. But Handle on You preferred a track, and I think I'm going to say, you know, because I talk about this a lot, open and sealed tracks. I often don't think it's moisture on the track as much as a sealed track. And this horse's 2 horrendous races are in sealed tracks.
And we talked about it before the gates opened. 4-1 was too big on this winner.
I agree. You kind of coerced me into betting. You said to me, you should bet your horse. She's too big a price. And then Maggie liked the horse too, and that encouraged me to want to bet a couple dollars. So I didn't make a big bet. I don't know how much I could bet in this race, but it seemed like a good price. And they were also over betting the 8. And the 8 was compromised because she was out in the middle of the racetrack the whole way. So if you like the 8, maybe you want to give her another chance on a fair track the next time.
5-3, 6-2, 4-1 on your winner to kick off the pick 6. Well, the prices when we come back, and we'll look ahead to what we hope we get in on the weekend, weather permitting, in the Interboro. Dr. B, a repeat performance in the Grade 3 Go for One last time out on a muddy sealed track. In this multiple graded stakes winner, collect another stakes victory from Butch Reed. We'll be back.
Olympiad leads American Revolution. Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Nothing stood in his way. War of Will won the Preakness.
At the line, War of Will, that's a photo for the win. Hey, 650,000.
War of Will, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Irish Hill Century Farm in Stillwater has grown to 450 acres. Expansion demanded by mare owners.
Got the Saratoga water. You know, we have the minerals. It's on sandy ground, and underneath there that water's got everything in it that you want.
And mare owners want the farm stallions. Kentucky Derby and Preakness winner Big Brown.
And his babies, they run just like him. He adds leg, body. If you need improvement, Big Brown's going to do it.
King for a Day is by emerging sire of sires, Uncle Mo. Lookin' at Lee earned his spot on the roster by finishing second in the 2017 Kentucky Derby. War Dancer's offspring have earned more than $5 million. Warrior's Charge is a son of Munnings, who notched 2 Grade 3 wins on his way to earning more than $1 million. And everyone's waiting to see if the handsome son of American Pharaoh, Waiting, produces the kind of speed he himself displayed as a 2-year-old in training. The Stallion roster is a joint operation between Irish Hill and Duchess Views Farm.
And we decided to merge the stallions, put them under one roof and co-manage them together. And it's worked out great. We're saving the owners a lot of money, and we're getting more mares to the stallions.
Beginning with the 2023 breeding season, the partnership expanded to include multiple Grade 1 winner Mind Control, who stands at Rock Ridge Stud in Hudson.
Lorray and I and Rick Burke at Irish Hill and Jerry Belinsky have been talking about doing this for years, and he came along and it just gave us the impetus to do it.
For more information on the New York Thoroughbred Breeding and Development Fund, go to nybreds.com. And that farm you just saw, life good right now with Mind Control on the ground to the first foal by Mind Control. Happened on January 4th.
One of the most fun,
Philly.
One of the most fun things in the game for people when you follow the game is when the new stallions start to come out, horses you saw race, and certainly we saw so much from Mind Control. A horse who was a stakes winner throughout his career, starting as a 2-year-old, winning the Hopeful, and you start to see their foals come out. It's always exciting, and you really enjoy the new sires and seeing the ones that turn out to be pretty good.
No, it's great to see that legacy continue and how they are able to produce. Instead, 11-time winner, over $2 million in earnings. It was the first ever Grade 1 winner for Gregory Sacco as well.
Yeah, that's right, when he won the Hopeful. And he won the Hopeful, and then he won the Alan Jerkins the next year in that blanket 4-horse photo. He was a tremendous horse. Started out with Greg, ended up with Todd Fletcher as well, and just had a great, great career.
Back in the start of the pick 6 at Aqueduct, Handle on you, Ruben Silvera took the lead in the stretch. Looked like this race was over, and all of a sudden had a fight on her hands.
Yeah, this is why, you know, horse players always say, don't ever say I'm home, because you're never home until they hit the wire. And I mean, this one was over, and then it wasn't. And suddenly, if you bet the 3, now you're like, oh my gosh, I'm coming back, I'm going to win for sure. And if you bet the 3, you end up even more annoyed because you'd already accepted defeat, and then you thought you had it again. But Ruben was able to persevere with handle on you, and I think we continue to see horses overachieving down the inside.
Rudy Rodriguez, Nassau CC Stables, Michael Pirio, Ruben Silveri, your winning connections as we kick off that Big 6 with an upset. Set up the 4th momentarily with the late Pick 5. We go back to Tampa, race 4. Coming up in their ultimate 6 here, 5.5 furlong, 16 maiden claiming races. We look at D. Lover's first start was not very good. 24-1 in that race.
You know, not very good isn't that bad in this field, Greg, but he does feel like a bit of an outlier.
A lot of changes with the 3 for start number 2.
He's going to need him coming off that -0 buyer.
Imperiality at 4-1.
I mean, doesn't he feel like an overlay at 4-1 here compared to the 5 at even money? He's just had more chances, but he's run 4 figures in the mid to high 40s, which makes him a huge player.
Huge drop. Dropper here, Sa even money.
I think this is probably the worst to be because he's only had 2 chances, but I think at 4-1, and it'll change before post time. The 4 is a much better bet.
Dash to finish 4 starts has not hit the board.
To be fair, ran fast enough 2 and 3 back to be a small-time player.
Kaprizov tried this level last start, was second at 28-1.
Did improve getting the dirt last time, so not out of it.
Uno getting Lasix.
Cuts back in distance, that could help.
And some speed, going 5.5 last start for Malibu Brad.
Yeah, now I don't think this horse is the speed in this spot, but could get a good spot stalking on the outside, first-time Lasix, like quite a few of them in here.
Minute to post coming up. 4th at Tampa. Teasic going to break. Weather an issue for Saturday. Hoping to get this card in. And the feature on the Saturday card, it's our ABR race of the week, the Interboro. Fillies and mares sprinting. And here's a look at the field that is going to line up. Ain't Broke, Hot Fudge. Good 1-2 punch for Linda Rice.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting because it's there. You look at them, they show 2 sides to Linda Rice and her training, and we'll get to them, though. Dr. B is the best horse on her lifetime accomplishments, and the Go for Juan, which she's won 2 years in a row, has been a great race for her. I thought she ran a brilliant race last in 22. She rode a bias in this race and still only got an 86 buyer. She seems like a horse that never really got back to her good form in 2023. So while she's a player in here, I just prefer both of Linda's runners.
She's had to face incredibly tough talent, though, in her defense. Yep. Good Night Olive, Echo Zulu a couple of times.
For sure. No, I agree. But, you know, listen, this was a bias-aided victory, and I don't want to knock her. She's good. And, you know, you and I had talked about this earlier. One trainer that you never ignore when he ships to New York is Butch Reed. I mean, it is not easy to come in from out of town. And a lot of trainers come here and their horses won't run as well. Not the case. You could say with Butch Reed, his horses may run better in New York than they run out of town.
That's the case a lot of the times. So a multiple graded stakes winner who's been first or second 13 of 22 starts. Going to line up again with Jose Lezcano. Here's one of those 2 for Linda Rice. Hot Fudge coming off a 3-race win streak. Won the Garland of Roses last start.
A couple of weeks ago, Linda brought back Joey Freshwater, a graded stakes winner that she had claimed for $50,000 at Churchill, and came back off the layoff and upset a field at about 6-1. Just a horse who had raced a lot and need a little bit of a break. Well, this was a horse who Linda felt needed a little bit of a break after kind of a long campaign, gave her some time off after a win, and she's come back and rewarded her with 2 straight wins. She is adaptable. She doesn't need the lead, but she has the speed to be forward. She has gotten very good trips in her races, but a lot of that is because she's adaptable and she has speed, but doesn't need the lead.
And the other Linda Rice on the outside, she comes from a little further out of it, claimed, and just jumped to a whole new level first time in the Linda Rice barn.
I mean, Ain't Broke is I mean, she's been terrific for Linda and sort of very emblematic of the kind of claims that she made at Churchill Downs and how well she's done with them.
Big part of the reason she had that record-setting year with the most ever wins. New audience joining us right now, Bally Sports SoCal San Diego. Welcome to America's Day at the Races. FS2 with us as well. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale with you. And we were talking about hopefully a race we hope to get in on Saturday, that Interboro. I was talking about Linda Rice, a record-setting year last year on the NYRA circuit, most wins ever in a single season. And she's going to have 2 of the main contenders hopefully in that feature on Saturday. We're out at Tampa Bay right now as we get set for this 4th race coming up with a 4-5 favorite.
At these odds of 9-2 versus 4-5, and we'll see the late flash, it can change things. I just think the 4 is a better bet. I think the 5's the horse to beat, but at 9-2, I would bet the 4.
Taking a bigger drop in class than the 5 is, although the 5 has hit the board distant in the money finishes. First 2 tries, we'll get Lasix today. Shortens up to the shortest he has gone yet in this 5.5 furlong sprint. Jason Beam with the calls. We get set for this 4th from Tampa Bay Downs.
Still hasn't gone in. Looks like the rider might dismount here, and they'll try to load Sands jockey. And goes right in. Imperialty, Sa Sa Sa, and Malibu Brad, the final 3. Sa Sa Sa, your 4-5 favorite here. Favorites have swept the card thus far. So we await Sa 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 and Malibu Brad. Malibu Brad, Edgar Villamil to the outside. We're just about set for a start. Ready to start the Ultimate 6 here on a Friday. They're in the gate. And the race is on. D-Lover away just a step slow. Good start for Dash to Finish, who goes out to the early advantage. Imperialty is right there, driving up to the inside. Digger Barnes is close up as Sa Sa Sa, the favorite, came away 4th. Right to that one's outside is Malibu Brad. It's 2 more back to D-Lover. Kaprizov is back second last, and it's 4 or 5 more back to the filly Uno Uno, who is the trailer. As they head toward the fire turn, Imperialty just in front of Dash to Finish. Down on the inside, Digger Barnes now back in 3rd. Sa 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 is 4th. Malibu Brad circling up 5 wide in the red colors from 5th. 2.5 more back to Kaprizov, who's up to 6th and gaining a touch. Down to the inside, D-Lover. And Uno 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 is 8th. As they wind around the fire turn, up on the front end, Sa Sa Sa, the favorite, now up to Poconos in front. Immediately tackled by Malibu Brad on the outside. Back to 3rd is Imperialty to the inside. Kaprizov, Dash to Finish. Uno Uno starting to wind up on the far outside. In behind horses, D-Lover's putting in a little bit of a bid. Final furlong left to go. Malibu Brad, Sa Sa Sa. Imperialty just down to the inside of them. Just in behind them, D-Lover is back 4th, but Sa 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 just keeps on fighting. Sa 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 in front. Imperialty up to 2nd. Sa 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 at even money, won at 2.5. Second was Imperialty. 3rd looked like Malibu Brad over D-Lover, who was 4th.
Gerald Bennett Barn always successful on this circuit. Sa 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 with the victory here in the 4th.
And gets it done at even money. Got a good trip here. Was able to hold off the 9. The 4 came back on for 2nd. And as I was saying, at those 9-2 odds, I would have bet the 4. You got to be careful, and you got to pay attention to multi-race bets, because the 4 went from 9-2 to 2-1 the last flash.
Back to South Ozone Park, New York. Late pick 5 coming up with some snow still falling on the ground. 1 mile in this allowance optional claiming race for New York Bred Company. And that is a look at the 8-5 favorite. Looks very tough in this spot for Pat Reynolds, coming off a maiden win last start. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
And Greg, I think we're going to have the snow all day, but it's okay. It's beautiful. It's very peaceful. And it's not accumulating, at least on the ground. So that's okay for me, as we'll check in with that favorite. And number 4, Scarlet's Dream. I need to catch up with Pat Reynolds. The time here in the paddock has become a lot more concise and compact. So trying to grab connections, it becomes a little bit more of a time restraint. So I'm going to ask him, though, why he added the blinkers. I thought maybe because she had to be, encouraged quite a bit by Dylan Davis to run by her foe late, and she was running with her head a bit on the higher side. But other than that, it didn't look as though, she necessarily needed them, because a lot of times coming off wins, you do scratch your head a little bit with an equipment change, and you do have to go to the stewards to ask for permission to make that change, and obviously, a little bit of schooling at the gate too. But she looks tremendous here, and she's certainly one that I've always thought that the longer she gets to travel, the better. So no problems with her jumping back out to a mile here today. Looks great from that coat and flesh standpoint. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm going to try to grab a word with Pat Reynolds about that equipment change. Number 6, 6, Unicorn Cake. She's going to stretch out in distance for the first time now in career start number 6. She tried to go for the lead last time, but was shuffled back early. She kind of traveled into the race and hand coming into the lane, and then she couldn't quite find a seam. So maybe a little bit of trouble. Was it that significant? I'm not sure. She looks fantastic yet again, which I thought that of her in her last 2 starts. But her going long, I'm not sure about. Yes, she has cloud computing on the top. Not really sure what to make of that, to be honest. But her damn Party Like Grandma, I remember. And for me, she was just felt more like a sprinting type. So we'll see what we get from her today. I'm not overly optimistic about the stretch out and distance. And then we'll see if Rudy Rodriguez and Ruben Silveira can go back-to-back here as number 2, Sun and Wind. I've always thought that a little more ground might be optimal for this daughter of Freud. She's really solid. You can kind of pinpoint the Rudy Rodriguez horses that are going to run well. They just look as though they're doing really well, and she's one of them. I mean, she's very confident here in the paddock, striding out nicely, really well muscled overall. And again, Greg, she probably looks best in this field just based upon appearances.
9-2. Thank you, Maggie, on Sun and Wind for the Rodriguez barn. Ruben Silveira will be aboard. And that one has the ability to be forward in this race, but it does seem like the race goes through this filly right here.
Yeah, Scarlet Stream has been good for Pat Reynolds. Pat Reynolds has been on a very quietly, but on a very good run. He doesn't have a lot of horses, but he really is making the most of what he has, and his horses are running well. I don't like that Fabulous Fox, who she beat last time, came back and ran as poorly as she did as an overwhelming favorite. But maybe that was a bit of an aberration, because it seems like her efforts have been very, very good in here. And while there's other speed in here, she seems to be outside the other speeds. Hopefully she just turns out to be the best one. I prefer her over Unicorn Cake.
And they put blinkers on her today. She'll get Lasix, but hopefully the blinkers on. She did not break well at all last time. She broke last, just a step slow out of the gate. See if she's more forward this afternoon, because it seems like she has that ability.
I agree. I listen, depending on what the 1 or 2 does, she'll be stalking her in front of them. She's potentially the fastest. And listen, if I were Pat Reynolds, I'd tell Dylan Davis to go to the rail. Now, Dylan's won 5 races in the last 11 races we've run here, and I don't even think he's that aware of the fact that the rail's been good, because he hasn't been on it once. But I do think that she's the one to beat. I am puzzled as to why the 7 is favored. Because even if you liked her, which I don't, she's an outside closer. She doesn't really have any speed. So her running style isn't suited to this racetrack at all. So even if you thought she was one of the worst to beat, wouldn't you want to downgrade her because the way the track seems to be playing?
And the win, it was at a much lower level than really most in here, certainly the favorite, and would need a big step up. And granted, that could come, but she's already made 7 starts to this point.
Right. And once again, I mean, I don't think either one of us are saying we're going to be shocked if she should win. And she is the 3rd choice looking at doubles, and will be the 3rd choice in all likelihood post time. It just feels like she's like a 9-2 shot in here, and that this price is too low.
Premier Connections, big win last time, even though it was against very soft company, and maybe that's part of the reason.
Win.
Pick 5 pool, you see there, 111,000 and growing, includes that feature later in the 7th with Lady Mine. Missing Fortune, Midtown Lights off the bench for Brad Cox as we get a look at Tamaki coming in from Finger Lakes.
Yeah, you thought this horse was a kind of long shot to throw in a bottom of a Trier Super a little bit. She is the inside horse, and she has speed.
Here's the Rudy Rodriguez filly, Sun and Wind.
She's just got to get so much faster, but I am friendly with her owner, so I'm hoping she does. He's the man who used to own Stereo Springwater.
Really?
Adam McCord.
Did not know that.
Lovely
Born
guy.
for Great in my favorite water. 26-1 Romero Mirage on the 3.
Yeah, she looks a little overmatched. You missed the boat at 19-1.
2-1 on the filly to beat here. Scarlet Stream off that maiden win.
I think 2-1's an overlay on her in here. I think she's supposed to be 6 or 7-5 in this spot.
Here's Baroness Bourbon for Jamie Begg.
She got it done last time stretching out, but she did on a good sealed track. This is a tougher spot.
Against 20 maiden claiming. Here's Unicorn Cake. She's been stakes tested.
Maggie has some real concerns about her stretching out, which I think is incredibly important here. And she's a horse that looked good breaking her maiden, and she really, tougher competition or not, has not moved forward at all.
And Run for Your Honey. 5-2, still taking money off that 12-length win against Soft Company.
I think the thing to like about her is you're confident the distance won't be a problem. But once again, I don't care what speed figures you're looking at. She's too slow, and she has a disadvantageous running style. So you're supposed to be getting a much bigger price if you like her.
Well, here's Unicorn Cake. She won first time out for Jeremiah Englehart. That was at Saratoga this summer. And then immediately put into stakes. In fact, 3 in a row, where she did hit the board twice, to be fair. She was monster prices in a couple of those stakes, but she hasn't got back to that debut win.
Yeah, and from a speed figure, the Beyer speed figure standpoint, she ran a 63 in her debut, and her fastest since then was the 59 last time. And you just start to wonder if she was a horse that was cranked up for her debut and hasn't gone on with it. She gets Lasix for the first time. I picked her second. I think you might have picked her second as well. Neither one of us is saying we think she can't win this race. We just think the 4 is a more likely winner, as the public does.
Minute to post coming up in this late pick 5 of the Friday card. Let's go back to Maggie.
And taking a look at your favorite, again, it did have the opportunity to catch up with trainer Pat Reynolds about Scarlet Stream and those blinkers going on. And then, Greg, as you mentioned, she got away a bit slowly, and Pat said that she was just kind of looking at the other horses in the gate, not focusing her energy forward. And he said with schooling her at the gate with those blinkers on, just totally different mindset. And it seems as though, at least in the mornings, they have elicited the result, if you will, that he was hoping for. Now, getting back to number 7, Run for Your Honey for Mike Maker. Yes, she dropped in class and blew away an overmatched field last time. And that day, she was coming back off of, 3 weeks rest, and she had led a fairly comprehensive 2-year-old campaign. And to me, I wasn't that encouraged by what I saw from her in the paddock, though, knowing that on class she should win. She just looked very light. She just looked over-raced in a way. Now she's coming back with nearly 2 months in between races, and that weight's back on, something you like to see. So I kind of like her from that respect, but I agree with Andy in that she's just stacked up against it from a running style perspective today, and that seems like a short price to take on her at 5-2, guys.
Maggie, thank you. Pick 5 pool, 140,000 and growing, and 3-2 favoritism. Scarlet Stream, it has been an incredible role for Dylan Davis, and he picked things right up where he left off, winning the opener on today's card.
Yeah, no, listen, Dylan is an extremely good rider. I mean, the one thing I criticize him is sometimes he's not as quick to pick up on biases as some other riders. If he picked his brother-in-law's brain, he'd get help from him. But I don't think Trevor needs to help Dylan. but Dylan is fundamentally a very, very good rider.
Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. As we get set for the pick 5 coming up on this Friday card. And 3-2, Scarlet Stream. We'll see if she can go back-to-back. First time in against winners. Can she break sharper than she did last time out when she won anyway? Let's go upstairs to Chris Griffin for the call.
Loading the runners here. Tomaki, their Sun and Wind, Born for Greatness. Scarlet's Dream. Baroness Bourbon. 2 out. It'll be Unicorn Cake and Run for Your Honey. Run for Your Honey. Steps forward and in. All set. And they're off. Step slow for Tamaki towards the inside. Speed for Unicorn Cake, and Unicorn Cake right out to the front with Sun and Wind, and those front 2 clear off together. Scarlet Stream is going to track just off of them in 3rd. Out wider there is Run for Your Honey, is well settled in the 4th spot. Now Rank here as Scarlet Stream wants to go. It's Scarlet Stream who's going to push the tempo here. So the trio is up front, coming out of the chute, and they hook up with the backstretch. Sun and Wind to the inside here of Unicorn Cake. Scarlet Stream is trying to settle in, is in the 3rd spot, 24-3 for the opening quarter mile. Just off of them is Run for Your Honey, is in 4th, now moves right in behind this trio, is just going to save some ground here towards the inside in 4th. Big gap of 6. Back to Tomaki. Tomaki is back there with Born for Greatness and Baroness Bourbon towards the tail end of the field as they get set to move towards the far turn here. With 4 furlongs left to travel, Unicorn Cake now asserts. It's Unicorn Cake trying to put away Sun and Wind. Scarlet's Dream is now more settled, and here comes the move from Run for Your Honey. Saw the seam, and Run for Your Honey is now trying to challenge for the lead. Scarlet's Dream is still wide here, 3 wide, as dropping out of it comes Sun and Wind. From the back, trying to rally on as Baroness Bourbon is there with Born for Greatness. Tamaki has tailed off. 50-3 for the half-mile time. Run for Your Honey made that big move, but has not gotten to the front as Unicorn Cake is very stubborn on the front end. Scarlet's Dream is not pushed by yet. Yellow Cap, it's Unicorn Cake, and Kendra Carmouche trying to put it away. Here comes Baroness Bourbon, though, on the grandstand side, and Baroness Bourbon is just eating up the ground right now. Down to the inside, it's Run for Your Honey. Unicorn Cake in between horses. Baroness Bourbon looked like she was looming up on the outside, but has not pushed by yet. It's Run for Your Honey finding more to the inside. Baroness Bourbon still chasing Run for Your Honey. Baroness Bourbon, these two down to the line. It's going to be a photo. Run for Your Honey to the inside with Baroness Bourbon. Then came Unicorn Cake. In 1 minute, 49 seconds flat. It's a photo in today's 4th.
Run for Your Honey, the 7. Baroness Bourbon, a 10-1 photo finish. Might have been the 7 with Manny Franco on the inside here. This was very close.
Felt like she did hold on there and getting to the inside as she did. Very good job by Manny Franco. I think I'm almost sure she won that, Greg. I feel like she might have lost a little earlier, Bob, and to be inside at this point of both the 6 and 7 is a very good job by Manny getting it done. I still think she was an underlay at 3-1, but I can't say I was right because she got the money.
3-1 on the 7, 10-1 on the 5. Yeah, neither of us expected that short a price on the 7. Run for Your Honey.
She handled the distance. Both the 5 and 7 handled the distance. I don't think the 4 and 6 did.
No, regardless, as we still await to see who's your winner, a 6-5 favorite defeated here to start off this late pick 5, and it has unofficially been posted. It is the 7 with Manny Franco here at 3-1.
Yep, gets it done, and a mild upset here. You know, a third choice in there, so use this horse in the pick 5. It's probably good for you, and this early pick 5 should be pretty good. You got a couple of $10 horses, favorite in the 2nd. This horse is the 3rd choice, so we'll see how those early pick 5s are paying out in race number 5.
And we have more on this rider later in the show. Another terrific 2023 for Manny Franco. Led this New York circuit in victories for the 3rd time in his career. There he is. And on a 3-1 favorite here for Mike Maker. Run for Your Honey with the mild upset win here in the 4th. We'll be back with more. We'll look ahead to the Derby Trail picking up in New Orleans coming up this weekend. Brad Cox with 3 of the 8 lining up in that field, but not the favorite. We'll be back with more when our coverage on FS2 continues. Back with you on America's Day at the Races on FS2, regional networks out in Southern California. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Manny Franco in the winner's circle to kick off the late pick 5, Run for Your Honey. Teams up with the Mike Maker barn, and a 3-year-old filly by Tapazar gets the second win of her career. She's gone back-to-back now.
And give Manny a lot of credit for getting this horse to the inside part of the track and really made a difference here, especially considering the narrow win and the 5 rallying far on the outside. Had just a real disadvantage in there, and Manny took advantage of it. You get the outside post, and you end up in the best part of the track. You did something right, and Manny definitely did something right here. It's a very good ride.
Did not expect that kind of effort from Baroness Bourbon.
Agreed. Almost a big upset win by Trevor McCarthy. This is something that Sarah Bodway had been talking about quite a bit with me, and she's absolutely right about, Trevor is really overachieving on his mounts. Yesterday, sticking the gold rail in second at 49-1 on a horse, and he's really making the most of the opportunities he gets, and he'll get more and more opportunities because he rides as well as he does, and he's going to continue, I think, to have a very good winter.
$8.70 with the win for Run for Your Honey. So we move on to the late pick 4. 1-turn mile, and New York breds in this allowance optional claiming race. Doc Sullivan, 2 sprints, now stretching out to a mile, coming off that maiden win at 6 furlongs.
You love that.
Right now, your favorite.
We're going to call that the Greg Wolf. I think that from now on, 2 sprints to a route is going to be known as the Greg Wolf. It is your favorite.
It is a good angle. Get that foundation and then stretching out. But this horse, that was an impressive maiden win. There is the horse to beat in here, obviously, Brick Ambush, in a race that you'll talk more about in a moment. It's infamous on the circuit.
We do love to have another chance to talk about the Crazy Stewards decision in the New York Stallion Series, and he was the one who was disqualified. Nobody can figure out why, except for the 3 stewards. But hey, it's a game of different opinions, I guess, Greg.
We'll see. I would think that 2-1 is going to come down on Brick Ambush. More on this 5th coming up in a moment. We talk going to break. Derby Trail, pick it back up. In New Orleans at the Fairgrounds, coming up this weekend, Grade 3 LeCompte at a mile and a 16th at 20 points on the line to your winner to get into the starting gate for this year's Run for the Roses. Brad Cox will have 3 in the race.
I think the outside horse is scratched. I think there's 3 scratches in here, and the outside horse is coming out.
So that Awesome Road coming out.
Yes, I believe Awesome Road is coming out.
Okay. It's a rematch between Track Phantom and Nash, who were 1-3 when they met in the Gun Runner, and it was Track Phantom for Steve Asmussen who got that win.
I mean, Track Phantom's a very promising horse right now, and I think he has a right to be in that sort of the group of horses behind Fierceness at this point. Nice performance by him. He draws well on the outside, but he is a forwardly placed horse. Very disappointing effort for Nash, who failed to back up his good effort in the prior race. He's got something to prove going in here, and we'll see if the favorite Track Phantom can keep going, because he looks like a player for Steve Asmussen.
Well, such a huge maiden win in start number 2 for Nash. He had a 97 Beyer, second start of his career. You see him finishing second here. And then, all fairness, third, excuse me. It's a big effort to try and back up going into Graded Stakes Company.
Listen, he's got a big effort in him, and you're not going to write him off, especially for Brad Cox coming, just because he had one subpar effort. But Track Phantom handled him easily last time, and he's going to have to show he can handle him in here. I think Ethan Energy, that Luis Saez is coming in to ride for Brad, he's more dangerous because he can rate, and the pace could get a little bit hot in here.
Yeah, his second start, he debuted sprinting, got beat. Goes off an even shorter price start number 2 at a mile and 16th for Brad Cox, son of Uncle Mo, and he dominated this group.
Yeah, no, he was very good. He's going to have to get faster, too. But these are all lightly raced horses, and they all have a chance to get faster. And I think he's promising for Brad Cox, who, he has an absolute army of 3-year-olds on the Triple Crown Trail. I mean, it's going to, you got to start out with a lot to get to winnow down to the few that have a chance. But Brad is just, his team does such a good job, and he's got so many horses right now that are potential Kentucky Derby and Triple Crown
likely
contenders.
Winner of some hardware coming up in about, a few days.
He'll beat Mott? Do you think he's favored over Mott? I think Mott's going to win.
Really?
I think he's got a sentimental favorite, and he had the 3 champions. I think it's very close between the two of them. I don't think Chad Brown is far behind either. I think he could make a case for any of them this year because Brad won a lot more money, but his numbers and stakes were not as strong, I think, as some others. He does have the champion Idiomatic. Listen, I don't think there's an undeserving winner in there. All these guys had good years.
We will find out on Clips Awards January 25th. We're going to take a timeout. only turf race of the day coming off here is scheduled for a mile. Now moves to the main track. It's for non-winners at 2 lifetime. And favorite right now and also eligible that draws in and will stretch out 2 sprints. And now coming a mile test for the Jamie Ness runner. We'll be back.
Breeders' Cup champion Good Magic by Sire of Sires Curlin was the sire of first crop Kentucky Derby champion Mage, one of 3 Grade 1 winners to date, along with Muth and Blazing Sevens. In 2023, with just 2 crops to race, Good Magic ranked 21st on the general sire list with $9.5 million in earnings. 2-year-olds sold for up to $2 million, and yearlings sold for up to $725,000. Good Magic, the classic sire.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
This is Maxfield. This is a Maxfield foal. Maxfield, the G1 Breeders' Futurity and G1 Clark Hero by Street Sense. Maxfield foal. They're just like him. Walking, standing, looking perfect, and selling. This one made $500,000, the most by any freshman in 2023. Maxfield. He's the best in his field. Inquire now.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back on America's Day at the Races, we have a late entrant in the 5th at Tampa. Also eligible here.
He wouldn't be the longest shot on the board.
He probably wouldn't. Coming off the turf, moving to the main track.
He has an advantage. He could eat some of his competition. So in that regard, it might make him, not quite the longest shot on the board.
Non-winners of 2 life. Let's take a look at the field. EM's Treasure Girl kicks things off.
Okay, he's never been on the turf, has a pedigree that's all turf, and is the 2-to-1 favorite. Next.
Noble Tess, 6-1. Antonio Gallardo for Kathleen O'Connell.
Of the 2 that haven't been on the turf, on the dirt, I would prefer this one, who's actually got a little more dirt pedigree in there.
For Top Connections as well. War Museum, we'll see next. There's the 5 offs in September.
Well, did get a beat in a combined 52.5 lengths in his 2 dirt starts. Not for me.
Beastie Girl, Kathy Roundtree trains.
Well, this Beastie Boy, there should be a Beastie Girl, is 1 for 21 lifetime, 0 for 5 in the dirt, but has handled the dirt well enough to say not impossible at a crazy price.
Some ability as well on dirt for Classic Dreamer, even though last time it was a race that came off the turf.
I'm not sure this horse shouldn't be one of the favorites, frankly, based on the dirt race. This horse is running buyer figures. Why is this horse 7-1? I mean, I'd look at multis because who knows what price they'll be at post.
Moonshining, 2 starts on dirt and has been nowhere in those efforts.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be able to handle the dirt at all.
Here's the one who was favored, also eligible. Last Chance Chansey.
I'm sorry, the 9 is 5-1. 5-1, right? Yeah, those. I mean, it's Jamie Ness, so they're betting, but it's not like those dirt races are that good, and they were sprints. I mean, could win, but I don't know.
Potentially get the lead. 2 Syllabus, the 12 went by, and then Spirit of Power, the 13 gets in as well. Has had 2 starts on dirt,
and they're not that bad.
Yeah, distant third. It was against Straight Maidens, and it was at Gulfstream as well.
Yeah, I think that there's some value on the board. I think the 1 is way over bet here. The 1 is actually favored in doubles, Greg. I'm going to make an exacta box. 4, you ready? 4, okay, let's go to Matt. 4, 9, let me just go quickly, Maggie, sorry. 4, 9, 13.
All right, let's go to Maggie.
Quite the segue, guys. Thank you. We'll take a look at the current favorite. That's number 1, Doc Sullivan, who's going to get on a track completely different from the first 2 that he's run on, those muddy sealed tracks for the first and second starts. Now on to the proverbial plowed field that we have here for a running surface today. But this horse has really come to hand physically. He looks so much more together and fit and just more athletic than what he did first time out. And I actually like him going a mile. He's big, rangy, has a lot of scope to him as well. Now, he's a bit of a handful as you see them trying to get the blinkers on him. He's one that had to go, it was bad to go into the gate at times. So you kind of wonder with horses that get themselves revved up for their, prior to the races, are they going to be able to conserve enough energy to see out a longer distance for the first time? But at least physically, he checks every single box. Now, another stretch out in here is number 6, Slamming Gold, with that lovely pedigree, being the daughter of Bar of Gold. Now, he does have Tap It on top, which is a good influence, but she was all sprint, and he looks all sprinter. I'm going to be surprised if he's able to see out this mile distance, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. You see loading up right-hand side of your screen at Tampa. It's still the 1, EM's Treasure Girl, who's favored. We'll get you back to New York here in a moment for the post parade. But
she would probably want the turf, the 1, but I got to bet against her on the dirt. He may win, but I'm going to. 4-9-13 box. That's my plan.
So you had time to get it in, and we didn't have to keep Maggie waiting, but
I wanted to
glad you got it in.
Well, you know, I didn't want people to rush too late. Maggie's okay.
Jason Beam, the call. Here is the 5th from Tampa.
On their way. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Good start for EM's Treasure Girl toward the inside. Noble Test was out quickly. Here's Last Chance Chancey coming up. It's going to be Noble Test, Last Chance Chancey. Those two 1-2 as they run into that first turn. EM's Treasure Girl tries to join them from the inside and hold that rail position. Now the favorites are 1-2. In behind that comes Syllabus, who's out in the 4th position. Beastie Girl's up the inside. 5th between horses there is War Museum from 6th. It's a length more back to Classic Dreamer. Moonshining's out 4 deep, is second last. And working over from the outside draws Spirit of Power, who is the trailer. Up on the front end, they got that opening quarter in 24 seconds flat. On the outside, Last Chance Chancey. On the inside is EM's Treasure Girl. Those two, 1-2. Stocking them from 3rd is Noble Tess. It's a length and a half, 2 lengths more than. Back to Syllabus. Down on the inside, Beastie Girl trying to advance between horses, War Museum. Classic Dreamer races out in the center of the track, is back in 7th. Spirit of Power is out of last, and Moonshining now the trailer. 47-4, and these two have gone at it up front. EM's Treasure Girl on the inside of Last Chance Chancey. Just waiting in the wings is Noble Tess. Now 2.5 lengths back, though, and giving a bit of a cue from 3rd. Beastie Girl's 4th toward the inside. It's 2.5 more back to Spirit of Power, who continues to make some steady progress. Is about 5.5 behind the favored leader, who's trying to sneak away. EM's Treasure Girl is the leader. Spirit of Power looks to have some run. Going to be caught up in behind horses as Beastie Girl tries to come after this favored leader. They turn to the top of the stretch. EM's Treasure Girl is the leader. Spirit of Power coming through down along the inside. In the 3rd spot now is Beastie Girl. A final furlong left to go. EM's Treasure Girl still there. Spirit of Power trying to maintain that sustained bid is 2 lengths back, though. It's still EM's Treasure Girl, Spirit of Power. 2nd, Beastie Girl is 3rd, and Last Chance Chancey 4th. EM's Treasure Girl, Spirit of Power. EM's Treasure Girl going to go on and win it here by 2.5. 2nd was Spirit of Power, long way back to Beastie Girl in 3rd. 4th went to Last Chance Chancey in 5th, Noble Tess.
Another Gerald Bennett winner here on our program, and this one getting on dirt for the first time and obviously took to the surface.
Listen, you bet against horses that are bet like this, and these pedigrees, you're going to make money in the long run. Doesn't mean they won't win occasionally. And this one, for connections, it seemed to win an awful lot. Gets it done. 13 got a nice ride to be 2nd, but was really no major threat.
We return to New York. Pick 4 coming up. It starts here in this 1-turn mile, and that is a look at the horse who was mysteriously DQ'd back on December the 16th. Figure-wise, looks like much the horse to beat in this race.
I agree, and I have to imagine my post time will be favored. And I think the thing that is puzzling to a lot of people is, okay, decisions are made that people don't agree with, and people can see races in different ways. But if you were to go out and ask 100 people that are fairly knowledgeable about racing, I think you'd have trouble finding 2 or 3 of them that thought this horse should come down. yet somehow there were 3 stewards in the booth and it was a unanimous decision. That, to me, is something that I don't quite understand, how 3 theoretically independent minds would all see it the same way when you can't find that kind of percentage to like it. And it seemed like, to me, no call was the right call. Anyway, regardless, Brick Ambush still ran well in there, seems to be improving for Danny Gargan, gets Lasix for this race, broke his maiden at a mile. He just seems like the horse to beat in here.
You saw Jose Lezcano. He's going to take over here. It had been Junior Alvarado in that race we showed you where the horse was DQ'd. And we do expect this horse to be favorite at post time, but we'll see. That's a lot of money, and Doc Sullivan's sort of remained there. Pick 4 today. If you hit it and you're right, you split a pot of $2,000 with everyone else who's correct. Opt in at NYRABets.com, and as you've said, you never know what can happen. You've had friends actually taking the majority of the pool.
I've had friends that have split the pool, gotten a third of the pool, and I definitely think, and I'm opting in right now. You know, it's interesting. You like Doc Sullivan, and I have great respect for your opinion in that situation. But I don't think you thought that this horse could be vying for favoritism here. I think you were looking for a horse. And you know, the double, he's a slight second choice. Are you surprised that he's a shorter price than the horse that I picked, Slammin' Gold? I am.
No.
Okay, I am. Slammin' Gold ran extremely well last time and had a good figure 2 races back. And as Maggie said, you've got Tappet, who's a router, and the Dam is a little more sprinty, but the Dam did win going long on the turf. So it's not as though she couldn't go longer. None of that means this horse will have to want to go long. My biggest problem with Slammin' Gold, and I picked him on top, is that this is not a reliable barn. It just seems from one race to the next, there isn't always as much consistency as you would like too frequently.
And, well, there's the one it seems like everyone has to beat in this race here. There's Brick Ambush. I just thought there was more upside with Doc Sullivan, and I think people are seeing that first time going along. As you pointed out, too, when we talked about the horse earlier, getting on a fast track for the first time, which may even move this horse up a little bit.
Right. There's no guarantee that this horse was moving up in a wet track, and maybe most horses will perform just as well. Solomini, so distance shouldn't be a problem.
Mike Maselli, Dylan Davis, and again, it looked like 2 sprints now stretching out to a mile. There's plenty left in the tank on the gallop out past the wire in that win. Brown, Don't Stop, shortens up from 1 1/8.
I like the cutback. I just don't know if this one's quite good enough, but if you like him, 5 to 1's not a terrible price.
King Freud will get Lasix. Maiden win came against softer company.
The problem is nobody's running back to the big figure that maiden winner got. And he wasn't right on the inside, but he wasn't hurt by the track. But he wasn't right on the good rail that day.
Now is the favorite, Brick Ambush.
Yeah, this horse will be favored by post time, and I imagine probably around 7 to 5, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Todd Pletcher barn with a horse that went gate to wire at 7 furlongs.
Took advantage of a bias last time out, I thought, a little bit. Speed did pretty well, and this is just a much better field.
And here is the Kimmel runner, Slammin' Gold.
Needs a good break. Got completely left and made a huge extended run before understandably tiring. He breaks. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kendrick try to clear here.
And Toporkel on the outside at 38 to 1.
Tough to make on paper.
20 maiden claiming win for that horse that came in Delaware, softer circuit, and we'll see against this much tougher competition. Pick 4 starts here. Again, that $2,000 hit and split begins in this race coming up. You got to opt in as we take a look at Slammin' Gold. It's been all 6 furlong sprints, has sprint speed, and now stretches out to a mile.
Yeah, and you need to watch the break because breaks about 1.5 lengths slowly, but by the time the dust settles, got to be, 4 to 5 lengths behind the leader, and just makes this long, extended run right to contention. And you look at this race, which was a 6 furlong race. The leader went the half at 46 and 3. He's going to find himself just off the lead a half mile in the race. He went around 45 and 3 or 4 to get there with a wide trip on the turn on a fair racetrack. I just hope he can. He's never gotten left before, so hopefully it was just a one-off thing. If he breaks, I think he can be in front, and I think he can wire the field.
Post time coming up for the start of the Pick 4. Let's go back to Maggie.
And yeah, I get what Andy's saying when it comes to Slammin' Gold, but I just don't see it with him physically. And I feel like there's maybe some other horses that at least are acting a lot sharper than he that might try to go for that lead as well, whom one of them we'll get to. But let's talk about Brick Ambush. If you frequently watch the show, you know my feelings about that DQ. on the unjustifiable side, but was flattered by the horse who was most affected by the crowding that day at the head of the stretch, the Big Torpedo coming back and winning with a 73 buyer. And he's a horse, Brick Ambush, that continues to progress. Each time I see him, I think he looks better. I think he acts more like a racehorse, and I think that's just a good sign. And furthermore, I love the mile for him. He's just this long, lanky horse. I don't kind of foresee him having any trouble with this very slow and demanding racetrack that we're seeing, because he is a little bit more of that kind of aerodynamic type. So I like him as a favorite. That's very short at 3-2, but lots of trouble. He's very sharp today. Now, I didn't see him in his last start, which arguably, as Andy said, bias-aided slash against a much weaker field than what he meets here. But compared to his first start, I suppose he just didn't know what was going on. Now he knows, and he is up for it. Very aggressive in the paddock, and it spilled over here to the track. But he's a horse that I think can go further, can get a little bit more ground despite being a son of World of Trouble. So I think he's an interesting cog in this race, Greg, because of the speed that he may show.
Manny Franco, thank you, Maggie, on board. He got an aggressive warm-up. He looked the part. Warming up here, 6-1 from that barn, coming off a maiden win in the dirt debut. Could be improvement.
Need to find out from Maggie who the new assistant or current assistant is now for Todd Pletcher in New York, as Byron Hughes, who's it's Amelia Green. I knew that. Thank you very much. We wish Amelia a lot of success. She's worked for Todd for quite a while, but Byron Hughes, who's been his assistant for many, many years here, he actually quit or left. He's going to go back to school, and he wants to become a vet, so we wish him the best of luck. He certainly did a great job for Todd for many years.
Been those who watch our program quite
Mainstay.
a bit. Yeah. Been a familiar face in the post-race interviews. 7-5 favorite, Brick Ambush, the one to beat, undoubtedly. Jose Lezcano aboard. But Doc Sullivan has continued to take money from the rail, stretching out here in start number 3. Chris Griffin to get us started in this late pick 4 here in the 5th.
Trouble. 2 out. Slamming Gold and Taporkle. Taporkle towards the outside. Trev McCarthy. Last to load. And in. All set. And they're off. Step slow for Brown. Don't stop is the early trailer. Tightly bunched here in between horses. Brick Ambushes with the early kick. And here comes Slammin' Gold towards the far outside. They're going to be the front 2. Yellow cap, that's King Freud. Trying to join them towards the inside. That's Doc Sullivan. Going to wait for room. There is lots of trouble. Manny Franco, they're now well settled into the 4th position as they hook up with the backstretch. Second to last is Brown Don't Stop, and far, far back is Taporkle, who's just not keeping up with the field, is already about 15 lengths the trailer. 3 across the racetrack here. They went 24.39 for the opening quarter mile, and Brick Ambush now asserts as a neck in front. Slammin' Gold is right there stalking that pace setter there, 1-2. Just off of them, red cap Doc Sullivan wants to go here for Dylan Davis, is on the muscle and moving up towards the outside of King Freud. They're 3rd and 4th. Just behind them, that's Brown Don't Stop. Under a drive here towards the outside, lots of trouble. And still far, far back Taporkle is now almost 20 lengths of the trailer as they work into that far turn. Brick Ambush heads the lead. It's Brick Ambush who went 49-3 for a half-mile time. Slammin' Gold has been there the entire journey, and now Doc Sullivan is ranging up in the red cap, and here's Doc Sullivan now looming after these pace setters. Lots of trouble's going to be 5 wide. In between horses, Brown Don't Stop is still in the mix, and King Freud. Pushing on, it's Brick Ambush, and Brick Ambush is going to hug the rail, but Doc Sullivan is ready to get the cue, and here's Doc Sullivan to the outside of Brick Ambush as these two quickly up by 4-5 lengths now. Doc Sullivan trying to put away Brick Ambush. It's Brick Ambush to the inside, but Doc Sullivan is now opening up the margin, is up by 2. Doc Sullivan, Dylan Davis almost there as they approach the final 16th. It's all Doc Sullivan. And it's a double for Dylan Davis on the afternoon. Doc Sullivan wins it nicely. Brick Ambush second, Brown Don't Stop, and lots of trouble. Final running time, 1 minute 43.46 seconds.
Doc Sullivan, back-to-back wins here, and wins stretching out to a mile for the first time impressively here.
Great call by you, Greg, with Doc Sullivan. He got a very nice setup for Dylan. Had to move outside, but with the 4 and 6 going at it quite a bit, took the best of it. But honestly, while the 4 ran fine to be second, he won convincingly here. A nice win for Mike Maselli. Always like to see Mike do well. And Dylan Davis continues. What's his second win, I guess, today, and his 6th win over the last 13 races.
He's been the hot hand on the circuit for TriStar Farm here. Another Salamini in the winner's circle.
Yeah. No, Salamini's doing great. Really been a terrific start for him. Onwards and upwards.
So back-to-back wins, Doc Sullivan for the Maselli barn, 3-1. Dylan Davis aboard, and a 6-5 favorite beats to kick off this late pick 4.
And while he took a little bit of heat on the front end, and obviously slamming gold was done in by that, and Kendrick had the right idea. He wanted to clear, and just wasn't really able to. Of course, broke a step slow, but Jose wanted to hold, with Lescano wanted to hold that position with Brick Ambush, and he wasn't giving it up. Nothing that Kendrick can do about that. And the other thing about slamming gold, Maggie was right. He doesn't want to go this far.
1, 4, 2, 5, 3-1 on your winner. Dylan Davis winning the opener to keep his tremendous streak alive over the last few days. Now he takes the 5th. Well, the prices from this when we come back. More coming up from Tampa as well. We'll have the story of one of the rising stars on this New York circuit, Ray Handel. Got involved in this sport at an early age thanks to Dad, and he is making Dad awfully proud with what he's accomplished. Good to have you with us on our Friday coverage on FS2, regional networks out in Southern California. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Dylan Davis, Mike Maselli barn, TriStar Farm. Back-to-back wins for this 3-year-old Doc Sullivan. Very impressive, stretching out to a mile distance.
Yeah, this was a real step forward for this horse. Excellent effort, and congrats to Connections.
1-4 to finish. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Pleased to be joined here by winning trainer Mike Maselli. Dylan Davis going to catch up with us in a second. But Mike, Doc Sullivan, it looked as though he'd been tipping his hand in the morning too, coming in here with a quick workout. And looking at him, he's just really come on with those 2 races under his belt. As you said, today he was very impressive.
Yeah, the first race he was kind of green. He wound up third. The second race he kind of got it together and win. And today he was very professional. And I guess about 10 days ago we breezed him, and he breezed super. He breezed half in 47, galloped out in a minute. So he was telling us, I'm ready to go, you know. So we'll just see how he comes out of this and plan our next move. I got to talk with the owners.
I was going to say, you always have a lot of options, too, with a New York bred. Dylan, you have quite the hot hand. 2 wins today, 4 yesterday. Talk a little bit about Doc Sullivan. I overheard you talking to Mike, saying that he grabbed you early on in the race and really tipped his hand that he was going to run well.
Yes, he did, Maggie. He's kind of taking it race by race. He's learning. I knew for the first start with the kickback, he was going to need a couple races to get going, but he got lucky with his maiden win. I was able to tip him out and get a good trip. And then again today, you know, with the mile coming, I just wanted to ride that rail as long as I could down the backside. And once they cleared, I was able to get some options. Once I started working him out, he thought he was going to do that same trip he had last time, but he grabbed the bridle on me, and I actually sat behind Lascano and Kendrick there for a little bit, just so he can actually figure things out and get a little rhythm. After that, around the 3/8 pole, he's fighting me so much, I said I took him to the outside. Then I let him breathe again, and I knew I had a lot of horse. Once he turned for home, I asked him, he started lugging it a little bit. He's still a little green still, but he had a lot more focus and game today than his previous starts.
Dylan, it seems as though you're thriving with this winter weather. How is it being a rider in these types of conditions?
It's difficult at times, but I am a New York bred, so I'm born and raised here in upstate Saratoga, so I know what it's like. Some other guys might think otherwise, but I like the cold weather. You just have to dress nice and have the right clothing, and you'll be all right.
You're conditioned for it. Well, congratulations here. Keep that hot hand rolling.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right, Dylan Davis, Mike Maselli teaming up with a horse that seems as though he's a bright future, and Doc Sullivan, Greg.
Certainly seems that way off that performance. And as Dylan was speaking to, you pay your dues in these kind of conditions. And he's a rider that is still on the rise. Last couple of years, he's been great.
No, and he's an extremely fundamentally sound rider. I think you can just sort of expect to get the right kind of ride from Dylan. You know, there are times that it could be a little more aggressive at times, but he's working out a terrific career for himself. And listen, staying here in the winter, doing very well staying here in the winter. He's not sacrificing. He's doing well. The purses are good. The opportunities are good. And it helps set you up for the rest of the year as well.
4-win Thursday for him. Now a couple of wins today as we take a look at how this Pick 5's played out so far. So run for your honey. Kicking off the late Pick 5 in that 4th. And Doc Sullivan yet to see a favorite in the sequence. Still with a long way to go. Up next, race 6.5 furlongs. Non-winners of 2 life. The condition in this one coming up, Dylan's going to be on the Speedster, Perpetual Praise. We're going to have the story, however, of another barn in here. Well, Dylan's going to team up with Ray Handel in that Speedster. Needs a little bit better probably against easier company last time out. We'll see what happens with the 5 here, who is taking money at 3-1. When trainer Ray Handel started out on his own, he started with a meager 2-horse stable. That was back in 2014. Year by year, he has continued to build up his business, including an outstanding year in 2023 that included the first ever graded stakes win for him with a filly on the road to the Kentucky Oaks that landed her in that first Friday in May with Promiser America's win in the Gazelle.
It's been quite an unorthodox journey. My dad was a gambler, took me to the racetrack when I was a little kid, and I just fell in love with the game, and it's all I'd ever wanted to do at a young age. Started going to the track and meeting some people, learned how to groom, learned how to ride. Started like a janitor at a corporate company and worked our way up to being a CEO now. I went out on my own in 2014. Second horse I ever bought was English Soul. She's still actually my career high earner. And Promiser America, she's been so special to me. You know, she got me my first graded stakes win because we'd been knocking on the door in graded stakes company, but I felt like it was one thing that was kind of holding us back a little bit and showing people that we can really do it at a higher level. Winning races and kicking butt helped me kind of keep getting better and getting better stock and bigger clientele base that's kind of helped me elevate my game to the next level. Dad calls me after every single race. He's my biggest fan and my biggest critic. You know, I'd be like, what the hell happened out there today when one doesn't run good? He's the first one to call me before I get to the winner's circle. I'm a competitive person in nature, so to go out there and compete against these guys, it's fun and it's very fulfilling when you claim a horse and seeing them do better and improve and then perform on the racetrack. All of it combined is just everything that I could imagine.
43 wins last year, had a great Saratoga, won it almost 20%, and huge to get that first graded stakes win, and doing so really in a premier race on the road to the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, no, that was the Gazelle with Promisor America, I guess, last year. And no, I mean, to know Ray is to like Ray. He's a lot of fun. He has a good sense of humor, and he's been doing very, very well. And I really do think he has a good future ahead of him. We all wish him the best. We all enjoy Ray.
Probably has the filly to try and at least catch early in this race with Dylan Davis with the 5. Perpetual Praise.
Yeah, she looks like the speed. I don't have any confidence in her ability
to last. We'll see. She'll be in front early. Will that be the case late? Taking a lot of money right now at 3-1 as we get a look at her.
You don't think it was just a feature?
Could be. We have great success with that angle. More on this field. Check in with Maggie. Have a post parade coming up shortly. It's back to Tampa in warmer weather. With a look at the field here for the 6th as we look at googly eyes here in the 6 furlong sprint for non-winners of 3 life.
Yeah, sorry, get back to Tampa. I just didn't think this was a turf horse trying to go short. Good luck.
One of the best barns on the circuit, John Rigateri with Read a Book.
Feels like the inside speed. Big price 6-1. Imagine she'd probably come down.
Cutting back from a race on turf. Sing along, Kayla.
Doesn't look like she's a dirt horse.
Athena's Wisdom, this is the 8-5 favorite.
Looks like the outside speed in here for a hot barn and very logical horse.
Off since September, this is Spiteful Sis, who had won 2 of 3 before a no-show effort last out.
Yeah, maybe a little better in synth, but can handle the dirt.
Practicality, we will see next. Had a win here at Tampa for non-winners of 2 back in November.
I think this horse is the value on the board right now at 7-1. I would use the 4 and 6, box 4-6. Try to bet a couple dollars to win here.
And getting easier company here. And then Tiki Bar, 3-1 outside.
Yeah, comes off the win against non-winners of 2 lifetime. A little tougher spot here. I thought a little overbet, but not impossible.
So that's your field for the 6th here at Tampa. Again, non-winners of 3 life, the condition, and the public firmly backing Athena's Wisdom here for Gerald Bennett. Looking for a 3rd winner since we've come on the air.
I believe so, yeah. Well, and this horse does have figures that would drown this field. Just feels like much the horse to beat. Did lose last time at 7-5. Didn't run that well the last dirt race before that at 9-5, and that's a little concerning. But just has figures that make him the horse to beat on the dirt. The logical horse. Even Money overdoing it a little bit though?
Used to be incredibly quick. I mean, she would be the one out in front on the lead. Now a bit of a more tactical runner as she's gotten older. Talking about the 4. I know we have the 6 on our screen here. Practicality.
I agree with you on that. I mean, I think she's the outside. The 2 and 3 could show speed. But I think this, what about the 6 Practicality? Why is she this big a price? I thought she made a lot of sense in here. I mean, why is she 8-1 and the 7 3-1? You know, she's been running in tougher spots, and the last time she was in the non-winners 2 lifetime condition, she got it done. I thought she was the other horse here. I convinced myself to lose some money here.
All right, yeah, she's got to try and turn the tables on Athena's Wisdom, who did out-finish her 2-back, but she had a poor break, wide trip that day, so it could be a different story today as we get back to New York for the 6th, approaching the 6-minute mark to post. And I'll look at one of several contenders in here. This is the Ray Handle filly. Just showed you the feature on that trainer, the hot hand with Dylan Davis, and she wants to be the one leading the way in this race. This was back on June 1st. This was a maiden win last summer at Belmont.
Yeah, and this was a pretty soft field she found. I'm not even convinced she runs back to this race necessarily makes her the horse to beat. It makes her close enough, and she has speed, but I think it depends how much speed Dashing Della shows in here. Could be speed as well. I always respect Ray. I just not quite. I mean, listen, in this field, I'm not going to knock any pick in this race. I mean, you want to take a shot. But should she be 7-2 and the 4, who you like, 3-1?
Don't see that. You would think the more separation, the 4 looks to be the one to beat in this field. Let's go back to Maggie for more here on the 6th.
Yeah, checking in with the horse that you guys were just talking about in number 5, Perpetual Praise. Now, I actually liked her when she came back off that bit of a layoff and the first voided claim, only to be voided second time around for Ray Handel. But she looked ready to go in that race at Saratoga, and she looks the same here again. Now, she's the one, she can be a little bit fickle. I know last time at least she broke post parade, taken away from the others here. She's very aggressive in the paddock, so indicating to me that we're going to see obviously the same tactics that we've seen from her in the past. And like I said, she looked fit last time, but she faded badly. So I don't know how to judge her, I'll be perfectly honest, in what seems as though it's a fairly, equal spot into what she was last time, despite it being, 16 at Saratoga is like a 25 here at Aqueduct. So we'll see what she does. As number 7 is Juliana's Rose. She dropped back sharply going into the turn last time, and then she kind of came back on again for 4th. I don't know if the others were just stopping it that badly, which she was allowed to get 4th that day, and she was on the wrong lead, and now she's coming back off of a layoff. It feels like the 6.5 might be a little sharp for her, given the way she's put together. Might be better with a bit more distance, and 2, just appears as though she's going to need a tightener, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Going to get you back to Tampa. You see their right-hand side of your screen right now, in fact, and then we'll bring in that post parade from Aqueduct for their 6th. 4-5 favorite at Tampa. The 4, Athena's Wisdom.
4-6 box. Press the 4-6 and make a small win bet in the 6. So my Tampa opinion today has been pitiful.
Let's see if it changes here coming up. Public with you on this one. Let's go to Jason Beam for the call.
Practicality and Jose Batista to gate 6. Tiki Bar and Marcos Meneses to complete the line. Tiki Bar. And she goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Spiteful Sis in the center heads out for the early advantage. Sing Along Kayla coming out to chase that one in the early going as Athena's Wisdom, the favorite, was out of joint 3rd along with Practicality out wide. Rita Book was out 5th, about 3.5 off the top. It's another 4 then back to Tiki Bar. And Googly Eyes is at the back early on. Is on the front end. Spiteful Sis the leader. Practicality up on the outside. Athena's Wisdom in a bit of a tight spot there between horses as Sing Along Kayla is right to her inside. Those two are about 2.5 off this long shot leader. The opening quarter in a quick 21-3. Around that turn, Spiteful Sis and Jose Ferrer. Foot on the gas pedal in front by a length to Practicality. Athena's Wisdom the favorite, 2.5, 3 lengths back in 3rd. Rita Book starting to warm up on the outside is 4th. Then comes Sing Along Kayla, who's back a couple spots, being joined at the back by Tiki Bar and Googly Eyes. Spiteful Sis, here's Practicality. Athena's Wisdom out 3 deep. They're coming after this leader. Spiteful Sis turns for home just in front of Practicality. In behind horses, Rita Book going to look for a seam. Down the outside, Athena's Wisdom. Just in behind them, Tiki Bar trying to rally, but Athena's Wisdom hits the front. Athena's Wisdom by the 16th pole. Rita Book now up to 2nd, Practicality 3rd. Athena's Wisdom 3 in a row for Gerald Bennett. And Athena's Wisdom wins it by 2 in the end. Rita Book was 2nd, Practicality 3rd, Tiki Bar 4th, 5th, Spiteful Sis.
As you heard, it's been the Gerald Bennett Show here on America's Day at the Races at Tampa. 3 in a row, Athena's Wisdom in a tracking position. Picks up the 3rd win of her career.
Tell you what, you took 3-5 in this horse. You weren't excited down the backstretch. Was kind of pumping away to stay close, but was able to circle and get it done. Nice ride on the number 2 Rita Book. Split horses to get 2nd. Split my exacta, but no excuse for the 6. Good trip for Practicality. It's not good enough.
Back to New York and post parade coming up. Difficult race to separate here. 6.5 furlongs. It is all for sale, or most anyway, for $25,000 in this race. Non-winners at 2 life.
You and I saw it similarly. You picked the 4 on top. You picked it 4-6-1, and I picked it 1-6-4. So I think, right or wrong, you and I saw this race fairly similar. I'm surprised. Juliana's Rose is now the favorite. I don't think she'll be favored by post time. listen, I'm not saying she can't win, but her form had completely fallen apart and comes back off a layoff and drops to the bottom. I got a bad taste in my mouth in her. I'm not saying I'm not going to be surprised by any result in here, but I feel like she's the one getting over bet. Well, I'm just wondering if one of these days, and I know you picked her second, now she's favored, Big Hazel. I mean, she's got faster races than these, and her race 2 back I thought was good enough to win here. And last time out, she was wide. The rail was the place to be. Lobby sealed track. I can give her an excuse for that. I picked the 1 because I thought she'd be a much bigger price than the 6, but I think the 6 is a more likely winner. I have no problem in your 4 horse. Very logical.
Yeah,
good
look,
form.
Coming back in 7 days. We'll see with Dashing Della. It's potentially a very good sign. Maybe didn't take much out of her that day. Here's our post-break. We start with the one you like, Hypnocurrency, off since May.
It has races that are competitive enough, and I just bet on the private purchase and Chris Englehart trainer change. Horses are going well.
Blinkers coming off Devilly for the Jimmy Ferraro barn.
Just even the best races really probably are fringe good enough. The recent form not.
Been a long time since that first win, too. Pocolent for the Jimmy Bond barn coming off a win. It was back at Saratoga.
Looks a little slow.
10-1 right now with Luis Rivera Jr. Here is the one we expect to be favored at post time, Dashing Della.
And was not on the rail, but was close enough last time to say she may have been a bit compromised by the racetrack as she comes back in 7 days.
Perpetual Praise, the speed for the barn. We showed you the feature on Ray Handel with Dylan Davis.
She'd have to probably improve on her best race, but good barn and potentially the main speed.
It's the case for several in here, but for this one, too, Big Hazel, lowest level she's been at yet.
And Jose Gomez has started off well in 2024, and she's going to show up one of these days and drop it into the lowest level she's ever been in. Best time to do it.
Juliana's Rose, she probably faced the best company of anyone in this field.
And she's got at least 1, if not 2 races that would beat these horses. But like Big Hazel, you're going to see it.
Long time away as well. And then the 8, Dance With Me, Babe, winner 2 back against New York bred Maiden 40.
She's a better turf horse than dirt horse, though. I mean, she can be forward, but I don't think she's good enough.
All right, so back to Hypnocurrency. And here's a look at this filly for new barn now. Chris Englehart, off since May of last year, 9-1.
She's got a couple of buyer speed figures going a mile that are fast enough to compete here. And honestly, I just looked at this race, and it's hard to love anybody. So I thought Chris Englehart's been going very well. Private purchase since her last start. I just taken this horse really the trainer change and thinking she has a couple races good enough to contend. If he can get her back to her best race even, or maybe even improve on it, then she could win this race, and I thought her price would be okay.
7-1, very okay right now. Let's go back down to Maggie for more.
And, you know, she got a very big warm-up, Hypnocurrency. So indicating to me she's fairly sharp, and she looks ready. So I can't say nay to Andy taking a shot with the 8-1 horse. I am going to go with Big Hazel, who does have the recency, and I just felt safe in taking her. Maybe that's the wrong way to put it. But she was, as Andy pointed out, down against the racetrack in her last 2 efforts, which were more tilted to speed. We'll see if that plays against her yet again today, but she looks great. She was the horse who looked best in the paddock. She is a big, good-looking girl, which she tends to catch your eye in that respect, but she also looks better in her coat than what I've seen from her in the past, and I just thought she made a good deal of sense with several of the other logical contenders coming back off layoffs, and then you have Dashing Della, who's one that I can personally never warm up to, but I do see why she can win here, Greg.
And she has become the favorite. Thank you, Maggie. The big question mark, I guess the 7-day return for Dashing Della.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the other thing about Dashing Della is you're really kind of hoping that Cryptocurrency doesn't move forward off the trainer change. Perpetual Praise isn't ready off the layoff. Big Hazel doesn't find that good race. Juliana's Rose, she's probably the more reliable of all of those horses. But to me, I just feel like somebody's likely to show up with a better race. May not be right, though.
Did you say Cryptocurrency?
Did I say cryptocurrency?
Have you finally come around to Bitcoin?
Yeah, I still believe it's ridiculous.
Hypnocurrency from the rail. Maybe you did say
How many cryptos do you have in your wallet? Do you have like 9 of them? Do you have like a lot of different dollars?
I've spread a few around. I
Craig,
believe in it
Craig
long
is a
term.
believer.
Juliana's
I
Rose.
don't understand it enough to believe.
Nor do I. Juliana's Rose steps in, player here in the 6th, but it's Dashing Della the 4th. The favorite, let's go to Chris Griffin.
Dance With Me Babe goes in. All set. Dance With Me Babe right out the front of the gate, and unseated there was Madison Ulver and Dance With Me Babe. Running.
That is Maddie Ulver. Tried her best to try and hang on to Dance With Me Babe, breaking through the gate, unable to do so. So Outrider's job now to try and track down that filly. Hopefully does not get too far away.
She's on the outside of the outside rail right now. She jumped the rail, but she seems fine. I'm watching here and watching her run along. The Outrider's outside of her. I can't tell. May have caught her. Actually, they're right next to each other, but it's a little hard for me to see. And she's also outside of the rail, so it's tricky.
Let's get a quick update from Maggie.
Yeah, as we saw there, she jumped the outside rail, as Andy was talking about, but they're going to have to unload everybody here, and she will likely be a late scratch, guys. So we're going to have a bit of a delay, to say the least, here, as we just heard Chris Griffin say that the number 8, Dance With Me Babe, is a late scratch from this one, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks for the update. So take out the 8, Dance With Me Babe. And, yes, backing everyone out. We will be in pause mode.
Outrider has her.
There she is.
Fine
so
job.
Good news there.
Good to see she's doing okay as well.
Caught up with her, and luckily, no harm, no foul with Dance With Me Babe. Is going to go back to the barn, and we'll see her another day. And hopefully Maddie Ulver okay as well.
She seemed like it. I mean, she got up after she fell off after the start, but looks like hopefully everybody is okay, the most important thing.
So they don't need to move any numbers over. They just already taken that 8 off the board. And potentially takes a little bit of speed out of this race, so it maybe made the 5's job a little bit easier.
That's fair. Yeah, she was an outside stalker. And also probably helps the 4, who can be forward as well. We'll see. I don't know that she would have hung around for that long, but that's a fair point. She could definitely have been a player in the pace.
So holding pattern here in the 6th as they get everyone reorganized, and we'll reload here momentarily. And we get set for the first of this late pick 3 here on this Friday card. And again, that one right there, back to the barn. Dance With Me Babe for the Oscar Barrera barn.
Yeah, it's a little problematic in that another outrider coming over, so maybe one can hold her and the other one get on the other side of the rail. These guys, they do such a wonderful job. They really do. I mean, corralling loose horses. They make something that's not easy look easy.
They really do.
Yeah.
And some of those ponies they're on, they can scoot. Still pretty good.
Yep.
Catch up with these horses.
Oh, yeah. No question about it.
All right, so back to the barn for Dance With Me Babe. They're going to load back up here in a moment. And we expected to see Dashing Della as the one to beat. That is the case right now. And she's got a couple of races in her very recent past that's going to make her tough in this spot. Blinkers go on today. This Juliana's Rose, the 7 taking.
You know, the good news is we have a lot of time after the last race was scheduled at 3:59. Obviously something that's not going to happen after this delay, but glad to see everybody's doing okay.
So I think we've established she'll go back to the barn.
Yes, she will. A nice job by those guys getting it going. I think we can move on from them. Or not.
All right, so we'll reload here momentarily. And even with that horse coming out, Hypno Currency holding at a decent price. I know who you liked from the inside. Can she sprint?
I guess that's a fair question. You're right. She doesn't have a lot of speed, and Mag was talking about the warm-up, and certainly worries a rider that likes to be aggressive, but yeah, she could be a little compromised. But she does have an inside position. Hopefully the rider will take advantage of that inside position. You know, I worry less. I mean, she has dipped down to 6-1, and she's taken some money, but I worry less when they're bigger prices. You know, it's shorter priced horses. I worry about those kind of things.
Off since May. Longest layoff of anybody in this field for Hypno Currency, but a barn that's very good at, first of all, them moving into his barn and coming off the bench. Chris Engelhardt. See what happens here with the 1 as we're set to load here momentarily.
I'm not sure what the delay is at this point, but hard for us to know.
Still have our feature coming up in that 7th. When we touched on, Lady Mine as a major player in that race. Midtown Lights coming off the bench for Brad Cox. Even Missing Fortune. Major player. So that's still to come.
A couple of wide open races here, and then we got the maidens closing out the last race, so we'll see how it plays out. You just like to have the open races, as the 4 is now the 2-1 favorite in this race. And as usual, morning line maker David Argona nails it with that horse being
best in
favorite,
the business.
And the 7 being the second choice.
So 2-1 Dashing Della Eric can't sell for Marcelo Arenas. Quick return. Still waiting on a load here. I'm not sure what.
No idea what's going on here.
At this point, the holdup is.
No idea. No idea. But you have any movies you want to talk about or anything?
This has been a
Dirty
long
jokes,
one.
you can tell maybe or something.
And by the way, at Tampa, approaching the 9-minute mark to post. I'm going to get me going with my comedy career.
I wish I had a really good joke to tell offhand, but I don't. Because I think
we've wrapped up this story well with Dance With Me Babe, I'll tell you that.
We certainly have. We certainly could take a break or something. Not sure what's going on here. It's one of the longest delays I've ever seen.
Well, Chris Griffin just made an announcement of what it was. I could not hear it, but something's being tended to that they're fixing. I'm not sure exactly what he said, but hopefully get going here soon.
I think they're fixing the outside rail, apparently a temporary rail. But obviously there's nothing we can, I don't really know what to say. Well, once again, let's go to break.
They're they're finally getting going here.
Okay.
So
I'll
at
believe
least
it when somebody
progress reloading. Gates have been closed. And the reason for this holdup, if you're just tuning in here, late scratch of the 8 broke through that temporary railing, and I guess that's what they had to get fixed. So, Dashing Della the 4, the favorite at 2-1 with Eric Cancel. Here we go, loading back up. Andy likes Hypnocurrency from the inside. Long layoff. Moving to the Chris Engelhardt barn. Here we go. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin, the call.
Dashing Della. Perpetual Praise. Perpetual Praise. Big Hazel. And Juliana's Rose. To the outside. Reload of this 6th race field. Here's Juliana's Rose. And in. All set. And they're off. Good speed from Perpetual Praise right out to the front. It's Perpetual Praise is quickly up by a full length. Rest stacked up right in behind. Here's Devilly moving through towards the inside. Is going to stalk from second. Is getting right over to the rail. That's Perpetual Praise with Dylan Davis there in command. It's Devilly and now in second. Out wider Juliana's Rose to the inside of that rival. That's Big Hazel. That's the leading 4. Making a move up the far outside is Eric Cancel with Dashing Della is progressing is from that 5th position. Towards the tail end, Pasiloquint and the trailer is Hypnocurrency. They're chasing Perpetual Praise. Perpetual Praise. Here comes that sustained rally from Dashing Della 3 wide. In between horses, the big long shot in Devilly, and these front 3 went 24.58 for that opening quarter mile, well into the far turn. Perpetual Praise is in front. Devilly is right there hounding this rival. Losing some ground there is Dashing Della. Made that move up the backstretch, but is now stalling a touch. Got past to the inside by Big Hazel. Perpetual Praise. 50 seconds flat for the half-mile time. Can Perpetual Praise put it away and keep the streak going? Perpetual Praise is now back up by 2. Perpetual Praise down over at the rail. Continuing to rally on still is Devilly. Big Hazel's run up into 3rd. My challenge for 2nd. Perpetual Praise approaching the final 16th. Perpetual Praise. Dylan Davis, 7. For his last 7, he is in the zone. Perpetual Praise wins it. Big Hazel, then Devilly, and Hypnocurrency. In 1 minute 23 and 4.
Well, we talked about it with a scratch of the 8. This one certainly became a little more interesting with some of the other speeds scratched out of the race, and perpetual praise with the red-hot Dylan Davis able to go gate to wire.
Got in the front and got to the coveted rail position. It was over. And a lot of no-shows in this race. I mean, listen, Gomez did the best he could with the 6 getting the inside. She's just too slow. And the 1 horse, and also a good ride, staying the rail with the 1, but she's too slow. She can't get in it. This horse ran off from the field. Gets it done easily for Ray. Showed the feature, and Ray got it done.
5, 6, 2, 1. Another favorite beat. Yet to have a favorite win in this late pick 5. This one could not last against easier company last time out, but this time able to go gate to wire for the win and hang on.
Found the right field, but found the right racetrack as well. It's not easy to make up ground in this racetrack.
Going to take a break. We'll be back. Prices from this when we return. We have the feature still to come as well. And this man here as one of the fillies to beat in the feature coming up. What a year it was for the outstanding talent, Manny Franco. More on his story when we return here on America's Day at the Races.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe.
Spandarella could not have been more impressive.
The sun shines bright on this value sire.
Fair down 25, fair down 25, fair down. Thank you. Right here, 525,000.
Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
The Factor, a perennial leading sire of winners. He was 3rd in the nation by winners in 2021 and 2022. His progeny include Grade 1 winners Sistron and Noted and Quoted, Grade 2 winner Charmaine's Mia, and millionaires Bound for Nowhere. And factor this, with dozens of 6-figure yearling saves, he's a proven sire on the track and in the sales ring. The Factor, standing at Lane's End.
Cyberknife was a very talented horse from day one. A very gifted, fast horse, a lot of speed, able to carry it around 2 turns. Looks a tremendous amount like Gunrunner, same ability and talent, beautiful physical. Outworked every horse on the board. Holds the track record in the Haskell. He won it in impressive fashion, beating a very good group of horses.
And Cyberknife has won the TVG.com Haskell over Tampa. Jack Christopher finished 3rd.
The Arkansas Derby was one of his best. Showed how much talent he really does have, and stamped himself as one of the best 3-year-olds in the country.
His name is Cyberknife!
Cyberknife ranks up there as one of the most talented horses I've ever had in training. Multiple Grade 1 winner, brought it every time you let him over there. Excited about him passing on his durability, his soundness, and his talent. And if he does, he could definitely be a breed-shaping stallion.
Good to have you with us on our Friday coverage. America's Day at the Races on FS2, and the wins piling up over the last couple of days for Dylan Davis. 4 wins Thursday, 3 today and counting.
Yeah, no, 7 wins in the last 14 races. I don't even know. I wonder how many races he's ridden today with his 3 wins on today's card. Just kind of looking through. You know, he didn't ride 2 of them, so he's maybe no, he rode Scarlet's Dream, who did not win, right? Yes, I think that was his 1 loser.
This one
3 for 4 is good, right?
Pretty good. 75% you'll take most days. Gate to wire. And look, he was aggressive, as you knew this horse was going to be. No one able to put pressure on him.
Don't you think that Ray should maybe send like a little lunch or something over to the TV that got people in the truck for us showing the feature?
Well, he gave a huge assist.
Clearly, this win is a direct result of us showing the feature. And I think Ray, who did bring a pizza and a bottle of champagne to the Talking Horses set on New Year's Eve of last year.
Did
this
he really?
Year,
very nice.
Nothing this year. I wasn't here for New Year's Eve. That's why I didn't bring it.
It's incredibly...
It was very nice. He came in the studio and brought us a really good pizza, too. We had a little toast for the New Year's on and down on the TV. I don't think you were here. You were in Europe, yeah.
Yeah, I was in the UK. But now I'm going to stick around if I know that's the case going forward. Feature race
It's
coming
worth
up
it.
next.
definitely the reason to
I'll
stay.
be anywhere for pizza.
How's that going to go when you tell your wife, when you say
Have to
Laura,
get back for
we
pizza?
can't go to see your folks.
She would understand.
Yeah, I think she would.
7/8 of a mile in the 7th race coming up, and Manny Franco, we're going to tell you more about here in a second, riding for Brad Cox. Long layoff to overcome, but talented with Midtown Lights in this upcoming race is 4-1 right now. 2023 was another banner year for jockey Manny Franco. He led all jockeys in wins on the New York circuit for the 3rd time in his career, collecting 3 meet titles along the way and setting a new personal best in purse earnings. He is one of the elite in this game who continues to rise. Jockey Manny Franco has been no stranger to the winner's circle in his career. Even with over 2,000 wins, including multiple Grade 1s, he continues to stay motivated to be the very best in the game.
I'm hungry. I want to win races. That's what I'm here for.
Family has always been a driving force for Franco. From his first trip to the track, to jockey school, and coming to the United States, Manny's bond with his father has been a key component to his success.
I was about like 14 years old. My dad took me to the track every Sunday in Puerto Rico. Saw those animals running, and I just fall in love with the sport.
Throughout his career, Franco has found support from fellow Puerto Rican riders Arad and Jose Ortiz, as well as Hall of Famer John Velasquez.
Coming from Puerto Rico, coming from the same school, you have to be very proud, you know. And although we compete with one another, but you have to be proud to what they've done and to have the talent. There's no doubt that Manny has the talent to be a top rider in the whole country.
It is going to be a photo finish, and I think it was Discreet Lover.
Schering takes the lead. Late move from Dye. Back to third is Sweet Melania. Schering and Manny Franco have won.
And he's gonna do it, Manny Franco, in the Grade 1 Joe Hurst Turf Classic. But it is Tis the Law, and the New York Red is gonna win New York's Belmont Stakes, the first leg of the 2020 Triple Crown. Here he is, Saratoga's hometown hero, Tis the Law.
With all his accolades, Manny is still missing that one win all jockeys want the most.
And I want to win the Kentucky Derby so bad, man. That's the dream for any jockey, the Kentucky Derby.
One of, obviously, the elite jockeys in this game. 28 stakes winners last year. And maybe the best thing about 2023 for him, 9 of those stakes winners came for really securing his way into one of the top barns in the country for Chad Brown. He won 22% of his races for Chad Brown last year.
Yeah, and it's made a big difference, the fact that Chad Brown has the confidence to keep riding him. And when Manny switched his agent to John Panagot, one of the things that changed is that John Panagot's very close to Chad Brown. So Chad Brown has given Manny a chance, but I know Chad Brown pretty well. If Manny wasn't riding well for him, he would have no problem replacing him on the horses. So he has had confidence in him, and he's helping his friend with his agent and riding him. But if Manny hadn't ridden well for him, he wouldn't keep using him. So I think that also says a lot.
What a year for Manny. We're going to see him again coming up on Midtown Lights, the 7 in our feature race next. We go back to Tampa, though, right now. 7th race out at Tampa, mile and a 16th, $5,000 claiming tag, all for sale for that price here. 4-year-olds and up who have not won a race since July 19th. That's the condition here. And the favorite is another Duke from the inside.
Is the 5 a big price here for a horse that's dropping down? I mean, ran against much better horses.
Huge drop.
Right? Isn't this horse a crazy? I mean, it's 11-1 now. I don't know. Knowing Tampa, the horse could go for 3-1 with the late switches, but that seems like an awfully big price on that horse. The 1's off the claim. For a trainer, I only look at the short stats, but is 2 for 25, so that's not remarkable for a horse that's a very short price. The 3 is a turf horse that has back dirt races that are good enough, but hasn't been on the dirt successfully in quite a while, is also dropping down precipitously. But I thought the 5 was kind of an overlay in here. No knock on the 4. The last race is fast enough, seems good enough, but I thought that the 5 might be a little bit interesting here.
Yeah, back to the 4. So 7-5 on this Jamie Ness 7-year-old, and 3rd at this condition last time, but looked like a tough race for the level. The top 2 finishers came back to win again out of there.
Yeah, no, I don't have any knock on that horse's last race, but I think you're taking the worst view with Jamie Ness. This horse has been awfully short prices and keeps losing, right?
That's what you get with that barn.
Right.
347 wins last year, but more remarkably, sent out over 1,300 horses last year.
That's a lot, right?
Unreal.
It's maybe half as many as Steve Asmussen sent out. How many? I want to look up and see how many Steve Asmussen sent out. I have some. He sent out 2,152 horses last year. He only won 379 races, though.
That could be a new personal best.
I'm betting it's not. That guy, I mean, you got to love him. He is one of the great action guys in the game, right? I once asked him if he skipped a race designed to wait for another race. He looked at me and he said, "Me? Skip a race?" He's
put up over, it's 650 wins, I believe. The most he's but regularly 500-plus wins in a season.
Incredible.
10,000 and still going strong.
And he loves it. I mean, you see him claiming lower-level horses. You see him claiming Archie-breds. He loves the action. Gotta love it.
And he's got maybe the horse to beat in that Lecomte on the Triple Crown Trail that we previewed earlier in the show coming up on Saturday. We're set for the 7th at Tampa. Jason Beam, the call.
Last Promise, Edgar Villamil to the outside. Goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. Smile Brian showing good speed. Seish right alongside that one. Those two by the wire just in front of Zonic and Falcon's Fury, who came out 3rd and 4th. Reiner up from the outside, trying to work over from 5th. Outside of that one is Last Promise. Closer to the back is Another Duke, who's back 2nd last. And Pharaoh Fancy Pant is the trailer with 7 furlongs to go. Smile Brian and Seish, those two 1-2. Smile Brian just in front by a neck now to Seish, who presses closer on the outside. Zonic, Falcon's Fury, they're right together, 3rd and 4th. Top 4 only separated by 2. In between horses, Another Duke tries to make up a little bit of ground. Reiner right to that one's outside. Last Promise is 2nd last. And Pharaoh Fancy Pants at the back of a pretty tight-knit group, only about 5 or 6 front to back, with 5 furlongs left to go. 24-2 for the opening quarter mile, and it's Smile Brian the leader. Smile Brian in front by a neck to Seish in the 2nd position. Out wide there, Falcon's Fury gets a little bit closer from 3rd. It's a length and a half more back to Another Duke, who moves in 4th. Reiner going to stay out toward the outside from 5th as Zonic gets shuffled back a touch. Last Promise 2nd last. Pharaoh Fancy Pants still trails. 48-3. It's been a moderate tempo up front for Smile Brian and Seish. Falcon's Fury perched out 3 deep, a length back in 3rd. Reiner tries to get going from 4th. That one's inside. Another Duke is 5th. Still about 3.5 lengths off the leaders. Seish and Smile Brian. These two arrive at the quarter pole. Seish now going to a narrow advantage. Smile Brian tries to kick back toward the inside and does so. These two on level terms as they come to the top of the lane. Falcon's Fury in behind them. Reiner moving out 3 deep. Down to the inside. Another Duke is back 5th. Seish and Smile Brian. These two at the 8th pole. Seish now a neck in front. Smile Brian tries to re-kick toward the inside. Is battling though. 16th pole. Seish and Smile Brian. These two with 100 yards left to go. Seish, Smile Brian. They go shoulder to shoulder. Smile Brian and Seish. They drive to the wire. Here it is. Photo finish. It is really close. It's either Smile Brian or Seish. Another Duke was back 3rd. Reiner 4th.
Photo finish, 7th here at Tampa Bay. Maybe Smile Brian, the 3 on the inside. Let's look again.
Horse who at times has been a little camera shy was once with Graham Motion as far as a turf horse. I believe never before didn't get by, and I think won at 12-1. As I said before, this horse does have dirt races that are good enough, and a 1 for 20 in the dirt, a big price at 12-1, and the 4, no excuse whatsoever for Seishi, and the 1 who made a little mild run at the end.
Hadn't been on dirt since it actually was in an open 5 race at Laurel, and I know he didn't run good that day, but had some excuses. It was actually the favorite that day at Laurel.
I mean, on go-back races, this horse is kind of the horse to beat, but a lot of times you can say that. I'm not. Listen, I think 12-1's a crazy price on him, but wasn't running the winner to bet him. I bet the 5.
Prices when we come back. We got the feature on this Friday card next at Aqueduct, and there's the one Manny Franco will pilot, Midtown Lights, for Man Up for the Eclipse Award, his outstanding trainer yet again, Brad Cox. Right now 5-2. We'll be back with the 7th from Aqueduct next. We are back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We had some snow flurries earlier today. That has subsided. Snow still on the ground as we get set for the 7th and one of the many contenders in this race coming up, Midtown Lights. Off since June of last summer for Brad Cox. Manny Franco just showed you the feature on the leading rider in the New York circuit from last year. He'll be aboard.
Back-to-back feature winners.
Could be. Yeah. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Big angle.
Midtown Lights coming back off the layoff. Now, she's always one that throughout her career has run hot, and that's kind of putting it lightly. I know when she ships, and which she always has to do for the most part, from Belmont to here, is that she doesn't handle it particularly well, and that they had to literally keep walking her around the backside just to keep her calm. Now, she's fairly aggressive here in the paddock. I mean, it would take a lot to be washed out today, but she is one that in the past has gotten fairly hot. Not that she is in this certain instance, but she comes in here looking fit, and she's her typical self. So if she can get back to her good races, which did take place for the most part here at the Big A, she's very logical, and she looks ready to go. As we'll take a look at number 1, who's looking for her 4th win in a row, but first time on a track listed as fast. As we were just joking, it's a fast, slow track. But number 1, Lady Mine, it was a long layoff, and honestly, I was slightly concerned for the fact that she's such a big girl that she might take a race to get totally fit. But she is a little bit tighter having that race under her belt. I like the timing and the spacing in between these races, indicating that she bounced out of that race in fine fettle, and just looks like a happy horse. So we'll see if she has the same sort of magic that she has as of late on a track that is not sealed. Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. We'll get to the post parade here coming up shortly. Lady Mine getting that equipment adjusted there. Trevor McCarthy in a leg up on a filly who's won 3 in a row, all on off tracks, including this one December 29th on a muddy seal track.
But she's finding herself in a completely different world of horses. You know, one of the biggest jumps, especially with New York breds, probably the biggest jump, is non-winners of 1 and non-winners of 2, because the non-winners of 2 are optional claiming races very often. So you not only get the non-winners of 2 types, but you get a horse like Sue Ellen Michigan, who's won 9 races, right? You get horses that have, in this one, Missing Fortunes, won 5 races. You get horses that have had much more success at races. And she's a horse that's really thrived on those sloppy sealed tracks. Now, she has Trevor McCarthy in the rail. So one thing you know is Trevor will take advantage of that post, but will it be enough for a horse that normally rallies way out in the middle of the track?
Yeah, good chance. She's going to be last early in this field.
Yeah.
4-1 right now.
Very good chance of that.
And as you continue to win, as you said, yeah, this going's going to get a lot tougher for Lady Mine in this field coming up. There's some fillies that like to get their picture taken in this field coming up. We're going to see Lady Mine first to kick it off. Here she is trying to make it 4 straight. Trevor McCarthy taking over.
Well, as we've discussed with her, she's in a good run. She's in good form, but this is a much tougher spot.
Next door, that 9-time winner you talked about, Sue Ellen Michigan, Linda Rice.
Yeah, she's really helped by the scratch, because with the 4 coming out late, there's really nobody to run with her early unless Queen's Masterpiece goes on Ascend, which she could, and that can help her chances. I don't think she's good enough. I don't like her at 7, but she may have the real run of the race in here.
And a couple of really late scratches in here, the 3 and the 4 coming out. Dylan Davis had been riding the 1. He shows up on Gone and Forgotten the 5.
Yeah, and you know, she's got to break more cleanly. Now, she stumbled last time, but it didn't really hurt her. She didn't lose any ground because of the stumble.
This one interesting. She could improve for the Jimmy Bond Barn Queen's Masterpiece.
She better.
Midtown Lights, Brad Cox filly off the long layoff.
Yeah, I liked her because I feel like she's run the fast enough races with routine improvement from 3 to 4. She could improve, but she doesn't have a lot of speed. I wouldn't bet her at 2-1, and I worry that this racetrack won't be suitable for her running style.
Well, it's Manny Franco aboard, and public has made that one the favorite. And then the 8 Missing Fortune outside. A couple of very good efforts the last 2 tries, and now stretches out an extra furlong.
She's in good form. Now, she's got to get more forward. The outside post worries me a bit, but she is in good form.
Minute to post coming up. Here's Midtown Lights. Manny Franco. Last time she was seen, she was on the turf, but this was back to March 17th, and a victory as the favorite at Aqueduct.
Yeah, this was her last win, and I just, she's not a turf horse, her last race, and she just sort of started to go the wrong way, so they gave her a break, and I think, coming back, it's the kind of horse, we've seen this with this barn before, give them time, improve from 3 to 4, she's fast enough to be competitive early in her 3-year-old year. If she has improved as she's grown up a little bit, she could be better than these horses, but on this racetrack, I'm concerned that her running style and her post is not going to help her chances.
2 to 1
better anyway. So.
Favorite, yeah, as we get set for post time coming up. You see Maggie going with the mare actually to her outside, Missing Fortune. And on board, one Andy talked about, Maggie, who's having a terrific start to this year. Last year's Eclipse Award winner is Outstanding Apprentice, Jose Gomez.
Yeah, he's really been in the zone right now, it seems, Greg, kind of being aggressive with his mounts, which I think, ultimately pays off. And as Andy was mentioning, Midtown Lights, her lack of speed, I, like many people, like my racehorses that have a bit of pace, have a bit of speed and tactical speed at that. Yes, deep closers are exciting to watch, but to bet, to own, I want a horse that can be handy, and that's not necessarily what Midtown Lights is. I respect her. I'm not going to be shocked when she wins here, but she's one that I've never really been able to fully warm up to, and I've had a lot of respect for Missing Fortune, who runs for lower profile connections, but when they've brought her here, she has performed admirably. And as you guys mentioned, seems as though she's in good form. I understand bringing her back in the 2 weeks, striking while the iron's hot. And, she looks exactly the same as what she did 2 weeks ago, or a little bit more than that. So I appreciate that. And it just feels like the price is right. So I'm going to take a shot with her, Greg.
Yeah, we'll see. I thought she was very interesting in this race coming up. Moving into potentially a big move forward. She's been first or second, talking about the 8, 13 of her 17 career starts.
No, and she was against a slow pace 2 back in a similar situation last time. She's been in good form. I preferred others, but I don't think she's impossible. I think it's hard to pick her 4th. I think it's hard to make a case for Queen's Masterpiece to move up and win here. But other than her, I don't think there's anyone here that can't win. And I'll tell you something, I don't like Sue Ellen Michigan in general as a horse. I never felt she was good enough, the 7 furlongs. But with the 4 scratching, she potentially is the controlling speed in this race. And she's the kind of horse I was surprised that Linda Rice claimed in the first place. But when sharp trainers claim horses that you kind of surprise you, often means they see something you don't, and that's why they're so successful. And as the controlling speed in this race, I think she's going to be tough to catch. I didn't like her, but the situation has changed.
It shortens up, too, from last time out. Yeah. Out of that mile effort, 7-2 on Sue Ellen Michigan for the new record-holding win leader after that 165-win year on this New York circuit last year, Linda Rice. Set for the 7th, Chris Griffin the call.
Queen's Masterpiece loaded. Without the rider there, Luis Vera Jr. Midtown Lights goes in. Missing Fortune. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Lady Mine was off slowly. Sue Ellen Michigan right out to the front. It's Sue Ellen Michigan who's up by a clear length as they come out of the chute and hook up with the backstretch. There's Midtown Lights towards the outside, lime green sleeves. Also right there is Missing Fortune. Lady Mine broke slowly, is now well outside there on the far outside, is moving forward, wants some clear running path. Queen's Masterpiece is towards the tail end of the field with the trailer Gone and Forgotten. Sue Ellen Michigan and Jose Lezcano, they tap on the brakes, slow things down. Now within a length of that leader is Midtown Lights right here from second. Traveling with that one is Missing Fortune. Going to be wide still is Lady Mine. Not the easiest journey here as they get set to move into the far turn. 4 across the racetrack here with less than 4 furlongs to travel. There's Queen's Masterpiece, and losing ground was Gone and Forgotten. 24.42 for the opening quarter mile. Catching the breather up the backstretch and into the far turn. Sue Ellen Michigan still in front. Here comes the run from Missing Fortune and Lady Mine. 3 wide now is in pursuit as those front 3 try to get away here from Midtown Lights, who's back there in 4th. From the back, Gone and Forgotten is now a main danger. Here comes Gone and Forgotten, making up a lot of ground now within 4 of the leaders. 49 and 1 for the half-mile time. It's Sue Ellen Mishkin who's still got more. Sue Ellen Mishkin now battles on and opens up that margin again. Still chasing there is Missing Fortune. Down at the rail, Gone and Forgotten. Now stalling there is Lady Mine. Also rallying on his Midtown Lights. Sue Ellen Mishkin starts to tire in the late stages. Lady Mine is going to have one more shot at her at the rail, Gone and Forgotten. Sue Ellen Mishkin needs the line. Sue Ellen Mishkin will find the line. Sue Ellen Mishkin just over Lady Mine. Then came Gone and Forgotten in 1 minute 29 and 3.
Sue Ellen Mishkin. Andy, you talked about the 4 coming out. Even the 3 had a little bit of tactical speed, a late scratch as well. She was able to control on the front end and gets this win.
Situation where you have to kind of adapt when you see the changes here. And in this situation, she just became very, very tough to beat. On the other hand, and give her a lot of credit, and a terrific claim, Linda Rice claimed her for $25,000. She just made over $40,000 in winning this race, so she's already out. Remarkably good job, lucky or not, but this is one, and I'm sure even Linda Rice would say, I got very lucky, not only the scratches, but the 1 should have won this race, and I didn't like Lady Mine at all. I'm not, you know, if the 1 didn't get left, I mean, she got left, had to rush up, be wide the whole way. The 2 had everything her own way, and she had everything against her. And what did she lose by? About a 1.5 feet, 2 feet? That's a very, very tough beat for the number 1 horse, who was clearly best in here.
There you, well, we're looking off screen, sorry, 2-1-5-8, but yeah, did not get out good at all. And it could have been a very different story in here. Jose Lezcano teams up a lot with his barn for a lot of success together with Linda Rice. Sue Ellen Mishkin never hurts to get a little assist with a late scratch of some of the other pace, and it works out to this mare's advantage here. Now 10 wins from 20 career starts. And another good claim from Linda Rice. Prices when we come back. We'll set up the nightcap when we return, when we continue on our FS2 coverage.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Makes the lead with the most 2-year-old maiden special winners by any sire. On the backstretch, Mitoli and Omaha Beach close the gap with stakes performers from coast to coast. Vino Rosso finds his best and leads on the turn with 4 Grade 1 colts on dirt. But it's Mitoli with his 3rd TDN Rising Star, your champion freshman, leading an impressive Spendthrift Superfecta.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on our Friday coverage, America's Day at the Races, and the feature in the books on this Friday card at Aqueduct. Sue Ellen Mishkin, now 10 career wins from 20 starts. Second off the claim win for the winningest barn in all of New York last year. Linda Rice set a new record. Winner's Circle lead-in brought to you by the Lothenbach Stable Dispersal at Fasig-Tipton, selling 90 horses of racing age online at Fasig-Tipton Digital, with bidding opening on January 29th. Bit of an assist with the late scratch of some of the other pace in here, but give Sue Ellen Mishkin credit. She held off the late charge of Lady Mine and again gets her picture taken.
And the one getting left, I mean, that was a huge, huge break for her as well.
2-1, 5-8. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Here's winning trainer Linda Rice and Sue Ellen Michigan. She was a real good claim. Sorry, I love it. Did you watch Seinfeld ever?
Yes.
Anyway, back to the business at hand here. With the scratches, it helped her out so much, being able to secure that early lead, Linda.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, she was running on the lead, going 6 furlongs in her previous races before I got her. And so, you know, the plan was to go to lead, but we were lucky to get a few scratches that made it a little easier.
And she seemed like one that the 7 furlongs, she could handle it, did get a little tight in the end.
Yeah, I think the track is extremely tiring today. The fractions have been very slow all day. The riders are coming back and said it's very deep. I think that they've put some material on the track to protect it for the cold weather that's coming up, would be my guess. But it's been very tiring.
And two, how do you kind of deal with that as a trainer? Because this is your main string here in New York. How do you get through training? Because last year we didn't have much of a winter, but when it's a real winter like it is, how do you kind of adapt and change things?
You know, you just have to roll with the punches. I mean, today I went ahead and breezed some horses that I didn't have down to breeze just because I felt that the track was okay, and I knew that the next 2 days were going to be even colder. So you're constantly, back and forth of changing your plans to adapt to the weather.
Certainly being able to call audibles is essential here. Well, another nice claim with Sue Ellen Michigan. Congrats.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, Linda Rice always has them ready to go. And Greg, some news for tomorrow as well. I'm sure you're going to share it with regards to the weather.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie. We'll get to that in just a moment here. Let's take a look at this late pick 5. Follow along. So Sue Ellen Michigan keeps this string going. We have not had a favorite win in this sequence with the finale coming up.
So you got a parlay that's around over $800, so $200 for 50 cents. Should be some nice payouts. I have not looked yet, Greg.
Going to close it out with a $20,000 maiden claiming 1 turn mile. 7-2 is your favorite. That's no surrender. So a wide open race to close things out. We'll have more on it coming up in a moment. But back to what Maggie was alluding to. And because of very, very cold temperatures on Saturday. It's cold today. It's going to be even colder tomorrow. New York Racing Association has canceled the Saturday card, so no Saturday racing at Aqueduct.
Right, and the temperatures are expected to hover around 20, but the real problem beyond that is expected to be strong winds that'll keep the sort of what do you call it, whatever, around, feel like about 4 or 5 degrees out there. You can't race in that winter, the wind chill. So we will be canceled, but looks good for Sunday, so we expect to be back in action on Sunday. And there's no inclement weather, it's just the freezing temperatures,
and
which the whole country's been dealing with.
Our ABR race of the week, probably going to be a reschedule?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll bring it back next week. Linda Rice certainly hopes we do.
Yeah, she's got 2 of the main contenders that were expected to go in that race in Hot Fudge and 8 broke. So hope to see that in the very near future. Saturday card canceled. We still have the nightcap coming up, and we have more at Tampa Bay when we come back. 12 minutes to post. Race number 8 on their card. We'll get you out there when we return. Stay with us.
Curlin's obviously one of the great sires today. He's currently the second leading sire. He's a horse that gets Grade 1 winners, he gets champions, he gets classic winners, so he's really, you know, in a league of his own. I'm very excited about Army Mule, off to a great start at stud as well. His first crop are 3-year-olds like Good Magic, and you know, he's getting stakes winners and a very good progeny that can really run from a book that probably wasn't of the highest quality. So we think that he's a very good sire in the making. McLean's Music, top sire of Jackie's Warrior, and other Grade 1 winners. Cantharos is having a big year this year. The Charlatans are foals this year, who we're very excited about. Violence had a champion last year, or second Forte in Belmont, so he's having a great year. So we've really had a great representation right across the board on really all of our stallions. Good Magic looks like he can be special. The newest horse is Loggins. So Loggins is a horse that I thought had tremendous ability. He got hurt, and you know, in his second start, he was just beating a Forte, who I think is a very good champion. And he's a great horse to look at. He's well bred. He's got the right names in his pedigree. I know there's always a critique when horses have a limited career that you're bringing unsoundness into the gene pool, or you know, those kind of things. But you know, if a horse takes a funny step or hurts himself, for me, that doesn't demonstrate unsoundness or a genetic predisposition for unsoundness. You know, you take a funny step, you get hurt. That's bad luck more than anything. So, you know, we've had good luck with you know, horses like McLean's Music and even Candy Ride, who raced limited number of times. So, you know, we don't specifically look for horses with abbreviated careers, but I wouldn't discount those horses either because something went wrong. So it's very rewarding when they separate from their peers and they look like they're going to be very important stallions. And you know, the hope is always that you'll stand a breed shaping stallion like Curlin.
What a 1-2 punch they have at Hillendale with Curlin and Good Magic. Program brought to you by Hillendale and Alapa as we get set for our nightcap here in New York. 8th race, 1-turn mile, $20,000 maiden claiming race, and that is one of only 2 horses in this race, that result in the pick 6 getting hit on this Friday card.
Who was the other one covered?
The 5.
The 5, 2 and 5. And, you know, it's I imagine it wasn't a giant pool, but you know, one of the things I once, many years ago, 1993, on Travers Day in Saratoga, I was the only winner of the pick 6. I think we paid $141,000. I had a piece with a friend, and the biggest price in the sequence was $11.80. Well, that's not true. Sea Hero and the Travers paid $15, but after that was $11.80. But there wasn't one single favorite that won in the sequence. It was just one of those weird ones. And believe it or not, it ended with a simulcast of the Pacific Classic. And Best Pal was 2-5, and a number of people I knew were alive with Best Pal. They didn't show potential Will Pays, but the entry with Bertrando won. He was an entry, a 3-horse entry. And people had Best Pal at 2-5, but he didn't get it done.
What'd you do that night?
Drank, I did. Yeah.
Went out and celebrated. Pretty good hit.
It was a remarkable feeling, you know, to be on Travers Day and the only winner of the pick 6. It's sort of a crazy feeling.
Well, here's one of the main contenders in this finale. There's the 6 No Surrender. Rudy Rodriguez Barn. Ruben Silvera will ride. And just a strange trip last time out, especially on the backstretch where it looked like the rider was kind of bouncing up and down around Forbidden the Irons.
Yeah, this is 2 back, actually, because I also wanted to show Growth Mindset, because this is the last race for Growth Mindset. And I believe Growth Mindset ran better because it was down on the rail, and the rail wasn't the place to be. So even though he ran 2 lengths behind, I thought he put in a better effort. But I agree with you about No Surrender. I feel like the rider got in some trouble in there and just kind of hampered the horse's chances. But I also feel, Greg, that he kind of tired the late stages as well. And I think the cut back to the 1-turn mile, which he ran in this race, is going to be extremely beneficial to him. So I think it's not only a function of getting a different rider, but I think also the less distance makes him tough in here.
Now back to this mile after going a mile and an eighth last time out, and he got that bigger, better figure at a mile distance too back.
Is it funny that the 5 is one of the 2 horses covered in here? Or is 12-1? Was it a lot of chances?
The biggest price on the board.
So random, right?
One of 2 that results in this pick 6 getting hit today.
Yeah.
And that's a horse who tried to do it on the front end in this, what we expected to be this common race. Phantom Jewel comes out, who would have been a major player in here.
I'm hopeful the horse I like is going to be in front, the number 2 Little Skippy. Weird claim by Horacio de Paz, and I respect Horacio, which is why I picked him.
Real quick as well with the 5, rider change, Luis Rivera Jr. For Matty Over as we go downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, no fear, guys. We got, ignore the post time. We've got a couple minutes as the tractors are still going around up there. So look for this race to go off in about 3 to 4 minutes at least. At the very least, as we'll take a look at the horse that guys were talking about in No Surrender. It was a little bit of a weird kind of race, and Greg talked about the backside trouble, and then he tried to rally between horses, and he kind of wanted to lug in a little bit. It was just a crowded, nothing was smooth about that trip. And so now he's going to come back in distance. He gets Ruben Silvera. He looks fantastic here. I like this distance primarily for him. The mile, it feels right. He's solid. He's well muscled overall, and just feels like a very, very logical contender. As we'll check in with the lady of this field, number 4, Belle of the Ball, Linda Rice, looking to secure the late double as she will stretch this 5-year-old mare out in distance. I mean, there's some pedigree to say, yeah, okay. And 2, with the facing the males, she stacks up well against them. She's a big, solid mare who's only run 6 times, so that's never the greatest stat or record to have. She can probably handle it, but I'm not totally enthralled with her chances. It would be silly to take, I think, a short price on her, though, you always have to respect these connections, Greg.
And those connections, maybe a little extra credit and more respect. Linda Rice, again, record-setting year last year on this circuit. She's got a little, has Belle of the Ball, and Jose Lezcano, one of her main riders, will be aboard.
Maybe like her trainer, she can beat up on the boys, which is something Linda does a lot of. I also think that's probably just the race she wanted to go in, just wasn't filling and wasn't going, and the horse was ready to run. The horse is 3-1 on the board, so it's hard to say she's in the wrong spot.
We've seen the last 2 races now. Speed has gone gate to wire with late scratches, other potential speeds coming out. So it looked like lone speed. What does that mean for Little Skippy here, the 2?
Well, I think the Manny stretching out has to be setting this horse, and the way the racetrack's playing, it breaks from the inside. I think we can expect to see, barring a bad break, this horse on the front end, and I'm hopeful it continues that way. I'm live in the double, the 2 and 7 here.
The Linda Rice horse, Belle of the Ball, back to the 4, used to have some speed.
And she's coming out of sprints. She's not quite as fast, though, as the 2 recently, but I don't think it's impossible. We'll see. We'll see what kind of ride. But I'd like to see Manny be aggressive from the inside, and it's one thing we see a lot of aggressive riding from Manny as well.
5-2 favorite, the one who should be in front. And there's Manny.
There he is.
The inside post as well, so it's just go with this 4-year-old trying to break the maiden here in career start number 7 coming up.
Keep it simple. That's an odd claim for Horacio de Paz to claim this horse for $20,000. It's not like he was showing a lot of form, and I also think it's interesting that he stretches out off the claim, which sort of says to me maybe he feels like the horse could want to go longer. I don't think he's expecting big things, but just a funny claim, right? I mean, it's not claiming a maiden 20 that didn't run well last time, to be fair. And I think that's a bit of a concern, but I'm hoping the horse gets back to the better races for it's more of a lot of respect for Horacio de Paz, who I think is a terrific trainer.
And as you brought up, it is really strange to see that just 2 horses result in this pick 6 getting hit, and one of them is the biggest price on the board. That's the 5.
So random.
Tried to do it on the front end last time out. Likely not going to get that kind of trip today with the presence of the 2. Here is Little Skippy, inside post now with Manny Franco.
Yeah, as like we said, hoping to be the speed and like the trainer change.
I Love Cara for the Oscar Barrera barn.
Frankly, not that much slower than other players in here for a horse that's a big price.
Yeah, co-biggest price on the board. Bell of the Ball, Linda Rice, Jose Lizcano.
The mare running against the boys just stretches out a little bit for Linda. She'd have to improve, but not impossible.
A-lister was just behind Phantom Jewel, who was scratched but would have been a major player.
Best race she's ever run, or he's ever run, was last time. Can he run it again?
No Surrender, Rudy Rodriguez barn with Ruben Silvera.
The cut back to a mile should help this horse, a player.
Growth Mindset, beat by an 0 for 25 runner last time out.
Yeah, but was on a dead rail, and I think is going to benefit from that race and is fast enough to win, and should be in a stalking position here.
There he is with Trevor McCarthy.
Also trainer change horse.
Yeah, Peter Walder, very good trainer. And then Nobilis on the outside, trained by Mark Hennig.
Yeah, has back races to win it, but the recent form is not good. Taking some money, but the recent form is questionable.
All right, so back to the one who we expect to be controlling. 5-2 favor right now. And I guess the question is, can Little Skippy get a mile? You find the right group, you could probably do it against anyone.
Yeah, right. They all go to the line. They all get there. The question is, who gets there fastest? I think Tampa running about 5 minutes after their post, get right on top of us. But then we appreciate them having their races on with us.
There they are, right-hand side of your screen. The 8th at Tampa, mile and a 16th. 8,000 claiming tag price for everyone, up for sale for that price in this race. It's horses who have not won 3 lifetime. And favored is the 6, the Bearish One, who was walked off last time out, but had,
for me,
before that, a really big effort at Tampa.
I prefer the 4, Sir Lump-a-Lot.
Great name. For Jamie Ness.
Named after Mitch Levitas, our director, right?
A win, second beat less, well, just a neck last time out, so sharp form coming in. Jason Beam, the call. Here's the 8th at Tampa.
Gallardo to the outside draw. Goes in. They're in the gate. And the race is on. My Way or No Way sent hard for early speed, as is Leopardi, and these two square off in the opening going here. They quickly open up 2 lengths on Sir Lump-a-Lot, who's up to 3rd. Guest Check is back 4th in the early stages as they run into that first turn. The Bearish One, the favorite, came away 5th, 2 or 3 deep there in the blue colors. It's a length and a half more. Back to Shakin' and Shimmy. Going to be Epic. The gray is right to that one's outside. It's 2 more then back to Nip of Bourbon and Pleasant Valiant at the back. My Way or No Way. Angel Rodriguez wanted that lead, and he's got it. He's got a host of challengers just in behind, though, as they wind onto the back stretch. 24-2 for the opening quarter mile. My Way or No Way trying to slow it down, but company is coming. Sir Lump-a-Lot between horses. Also right there is Leopardi and the Bearish One. Those 4 now right across the track as they go up the back stretch. Guest Check sits in behind them, 3 lengths in 5th. It's 2.5 more back to Shakin' and Shimmy. Another 3 back to Gonna Be Epic. Then comes Nip of Bourbon, Pleasant Valley. They're strung out behind this group of 4 up front. The opening half in 48 3/5 seconds. Between horses, Leopardi. All 3 deep there. Sir Lump-a-Lot, 4 deep, the Bearish One. My Way or No Way, 4th, but pushed along to the inside. Just in behind them, Guest Check and Shakin' and Shimmy. Those 2 loom up into contention as they wind around that turn. The Bearish One, the favorite, out 4 deep, pokes a nose in front. Starting to rally up now, Shakin' and Shimmy coming with a 5-wide sweep. Guest Check's out in the center of the track, flattened out a little bit there as Sir Lump-a-Lot is 3rd. They wind around to the top of the stretch. The Bearish One just in front. On the outside, Shakin' and Shimmy, corners wide. The Bearish One now a length and a half to the good. Shakin' and Shimmy 2nd. 2 more lengths then back to Sir Lump-a-Lot. My Way or No Way trying to run on from the back comes Nip of Bourbon, but a final 16th to go and the Bearish One's taking off. The Bearish One now 5 lengths in front. Shakin' and Shimmy, late run from Gonna Be Epic. The Bearish One wins it easily here by 5 in the end. Gonna Be Epic was 2nd, 3rd, Shakin' and Shimmy 4th. Nip of Bourbon.
The Bearish One with a win. 3rd win in 21 career starts as we're back to New York for the nightcap.
Yeah, the rider fell off in 6 last time, but today was dominant heading into the gate, almost loaded.
5-2 favorite. Bell of the Ball.
That's a surprising favor. The 2 and 4 have been vying for favoritism back and forth in the last couple of minutes. I am very surprised this horse is favored.
Can the 2. We showed you the feature with Manny Franco. Control from the outset and go gate to wire here to close out this Friday card. Let's go upstairs. Chris Griffin.
growth mindset. No bliss to the outside. And in. All set. And they're off. Nice break for Little Skippy right out to the front. It's Little Skippy who's got early speed. No Surrender is going to go right with this rival towards the outside. Growth Mindset is in that early mix as well. Just in behind them, that's going to be A-Lister, who's tucked into fourth. So it gets set to move out of the chute. The far outside is Noblest. That's the leading 5. Further back in the field comes Belle of the Ball, and the early trailer is I Love Kara. They work up the backstretch now, and No Surrender has taken the lead. It's No Surrender who's up by a neck. Little Skippy wants to apply pressure once again, and these two, little pace duel here on the front end, 24.36 for the opening quarter mile. It's a gap of about 4.5, 5 lengths now to Noblest out in the center of the racetrack is progressing. A-Listers at the rail and Growth Mindset from the back. Belle of the Ball starts to move, has a seam, and Belle of the Ball in the 2-path there is going to move right on through and take third. Jose Lescano and Belle of the Ball, they're alone in third, and coming after the leaders now. The trailer is I Love Kara. 49.38 for the half-mile time. No Surrender is in front. Little Skippy continues to rally on here in the front two, are still about 5 lengths clear. Stalling now was Belle of the Ball, made that big move, but now is dropping back. Noblest is chasing from the back. I Love Kara's got some run, going to be 4 wide in that second grouping with A-Lister and tailing off with Growth Mindset. But the front two continue to duke it out. No Surrender and Little Skippy, they still go at it here at the top of the stretch. To the inside, it's No Surrender. To the outside, it's Little Skippy. Very tired front runners, but the rest have some ground to make up. Belle of the Ball is trying to run on. I Love Kara is just grinding away, but I Love Kara's got 2 very tired pace setters in front. No Surrender to the inside. Little Skippy to the outside, and here comes I Love Kara. I Love Kara at 15-1. I Love Kara wins the finale. I Love Kara wins the finale over No Surrender. Then came Little Skippy in 1:47.1.
I Love Kara going best late of anybody in here. 15-1, biggest, well, second biggest price on the board.
And the biggest surprise is that nobody else was closing at the end. These horses were really duking it out on this track. The surprising speed from No Surrender did in Little Skippy. You can't knock them because they easily beat Little Skippy, and, you know, maybe not great giving up the fence, but didn't really matter as it turned out. They set it up for this horse. The horse, as we said in the post parade, a bit of an overlay considering the figures the horse ran, but still not a horse that I liked.
Hard to make a top choice. 15-1, no favorites in the pick 5. And we have a carryover in the pick 6 now for Sunday. If you're just tuning in, we announced Saturday card been canceled here in New York at Aqueduct, so that pick 6 carryover we will see on Sunday.
Yep. Not sure what it is, but we'll be back on Sunday to cover the pick 6.
Going to take a timeout. We'll have these prices when we return. 3, 6, 2, 4 in the finale here from New York, and a surprise to close things out with a 15-1 shot. Getting by No Surrender. We'll be back.
In the Pilgrim Stakes, they come on for the finish. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Your guide to selecting a stallion for your mare. Step 1. Make sure he's won a big, famous race.
Mystic Guy charges away and takes the Dubai World Cup.
Step 2. He'd better be very good looking. Step 3. He must have excited the support of breeders with quality mares. mystic guide. He's unmissable. Call Darley.
Back with you on our Friday coverage, America's Day at the Races on FS2, brought to you in part by NYRA Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to NYRABets.com and get signed up. Surprise in the finale here in South Ozone Park to close things out. I Love Kara at 15-1.
To be honest, you know, once again, cutting back from 1 1/8 where hadn't been competitive with several of these last time out, but got the pace to close into. And, you know, it's the interesting thing is that despite these two horses knocking heads the whole way, I Love Kara was the only horse that made a run at the end. I mean, they all had a chance, right? I mean, you'd think that somebody else would have run. It's a very tiring track, and as you can see by the times, which are unusually slow. I mean, we're talking about races running, a mile race is running almost 10 seconds slow. It's very tiring, and I think it's taken its toll. A lot of horses are just worn out by the end of the race, and that's why you're seeing a lot of gaps out there. It looks like this cold weather is going to leave us after tomorrow. It's going to be in the 30s on Sunday and much warmer next week. So hopefully, because the track was very quick last weekend. It wasn't playing slowly, so hopefully we'll get back to that.
Feel-good win, too, for a 7-pound apprentice, Giovanni Paredes, who gets this opportunity and delivers on this closer to finish out this card that we saw no favorites win, and the biggest price saved for last, $12,135.
I mean, it's over 3 times the parlay, right? I mean, as I said, it was about 800, so it was about 13,000. You know, it could have been a little bit more than that, 13 to 14,000 for $2, and it paid over 48,000 for $2, and the pick 6 carryover is 18,000 plus. No surprise there. Not an easy one to put together, but you'll have a little extra time to study for Sunday. I'm done. I'm ready for Sunday, Greg.
We've got a few more minutes. Stay with me.
I'm not leaving you.
Okay.
Greg, you're stuck with me forever, Greg. You're just, whether you like it or not.
I need another solid segment and a half out of you. The bearish one, able to get the win in the 8th at Tampa, was walked off after losing the rider last time out and gets right back to his winning ways here.
Yeah, not a horse, you know, with 5 seconds and just 2 wins in his previous 20 starts, and it, you know, lost some races at shorter prices, but it run a big fig 2 races back. Good to see no ill effects from losing the rider last time out, and won just much the best.
$4.60 for the win. Going to be epic, shaken and shimmy, 22-1 and 29-1 underneath to spice up those trifecta and supers with some big prices underneath. But it's the favorite who takes the 8th. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. We talked about it earlier in the show. Derby Trail picking up in New Orleans on Saturday. Grade 3 Lecomte. Brad Cox, Steve Asmussen reuniting with Track Phantom and Nash, and throwing Ethan Energy into the mix as well. Preview again when we come back.
Aqueduct is the only racetrack within the confines of the 5 boroughs of New York City and faced intense competition from several other tracks located in the vicinity. True to its nature, the racetrack not only survived, but thrived. Aqueduct underwent an extensive 3-year overhaul and reopened on September 15, 1959, to much fanfare, as it was one of the most modern facilities of its kind. In 1960, Aqueduct presented its first Wood Memorial. The race is New York's premier prep race for the Triple Crown and remains one of the track's signature events, along with the Cigar Mile Handicap and Remsen Stakes. Aqueduct was the first and only track to have a triple dead heat win in a stakes race when Brownie, Bousset, and Wait a Bit hit the wire in tandem. In 1965, it was the site of the largest crowd ever to witness a thoroughbred race at that time in the Empire State, when more than 73,000 packed the stands to see Gunbow in the Metropolitan Mile. The legendary Cigar began his famous 16-race win streak at Aqueduct. He scored impressively in the 1994 Nauru Mile as part of that win streak. The race was named in Cigar's honor after he retired in 1997. The last racetrack Secretariat placed his hooves upon was Aqueduct. He was retired there before commencing his stud career at Claiborne Farm. Aqueduct was the second track to host the Breeders' Cup in 1985 and was one of the first sporting venues where Pope John Paul II held Mass in 1995.
A lot of history at this racetrack. And as we told you earlier, in case you're just joining us, Saturday card unfortunately has been canceled. Very frigid temperatures, snow and wind playing a big factor in that. So no card on Saturday. We'll be back with you Sunday, beginning at 1:30 Eastern time on FS2.
Yeah, actually, the jockeys were going to ride, but you and I said we just thought it would be too cold to walk to the parking lot.
It's too cold. I can't do the A train.
Couldn't do
that kind of weather.
Right, but there'll be action other places. We'll be back in action on Sunday. Looking forward. I was looking at that. I love that feature, which you narrated for Aqueduct. Seattle Slew also made his final career start here after the Jockey Club Gold Cup, one of the great performances in defeat of all time. He came back and they showcased him in the Stuyvesant, I believe it was. He won by 10 lengths, and it was his final appearance at the racetrack. And so many greats have been here. One race which is considered one of the single greatest races ever run, Dr. Fager, Damascus, and Buckpasser meeting in the Woodward in '68. That was run here at Aqueduct as well.
Yeah, and you brought me out. You showed me the beauty of what this place is. No better view of running a race at any racetrack in the country than right here.
It's incredible. I mean, up here where we are, I mean, just looking around, you can see the whole race. But even first, and I'm sure many people have been here, if you just stand on the apron, you get an incredible view of the racetrack watching. I don't think there's a better track to actually watch a race live than Aqueduct.
I agree with you.
We love Aqueduct. We're going to miss Aqueduct. There's no question about it. If people think, we're shutting it down and it's not a popular place here, that's just not true. It's a matter of economics in today's world, and we're so excited about the plans for building the new Belmont, and we're so grateful for the opportunity from the state, from Kathy Hochul, the governor, as well as the state, to have that opportunity to bring racing in New York a really strong, permanent home to help us as we go forward in the future. But it doesn't mean that we're happy we're closing Aqueduct. There is a great deal of love for Aqueduct here, and we realize there are a lot of fans that are upset about it because they love it too, and we understand that. It's just you have to understand the economics of racing, and running two racetracks within miles of each other, and the opportunity to build a new Belmont is incredibly exciting and all the work there. But we'll miss Aqueduct forever.
Especially the horse players that play in the winter.
Yeah.
You learn to love this racetrack, but we're going to miss coming on the A train, seeing all those regular faces too that come out to the track with us. It's going to be a loss, but obviously everyone very excited about what is happening moving forward into the future at Belmont, and as a result of that, the new logo just brought out for
the Saratoga, for the
Belmont Stakes at Saratoga was unveiled, I believe, yesterday.
It's got the Saratoga grandstand in the background as well. It even got a sort of a thumbs up from some of my more cynical friends. I was kind of impressed by that.
So we look forward to that coming up in early June, that Belmont Stakes Racing Festival at Saratoga this year. Real quick, I know we're going to try and get to it. We're going to run out of time here. That grade 3 Lecomte, though. you believe this race goes to that Steve Asmussen runner track Phantom?
I think you have to. I mean, the horse has been so good and draws well towards the outside. Nash has to regroup, but I think Ethan Energy is dangerous off that maiden win as well, but looking forward to see what happens there.
1 of 2 likely in the race for Brad Cox, but it's Asmussen's track Phantom. He'll try and make it 3 in a row. He won that gun runner last time out in that meeting with Nash. Again, no show on Saturday. Aqueduct Racing canceled. We are back with you Sunday, 1:30 Eastern start time on FS2, and our FS1 coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern on Sunday. It was Sue Ellen Mishkin, beneficiary of some of the other speed scratching. Poor break from Lady Mine, but takes advantage. Gate to wire win. Linda Rice, second off the claim with Jose Lezcano. His 5-year-old mare, she just wins 10 victories from 20 career starts. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and we will see you on Sunday afternoon on FS2.
War Dancer, New York's leading turf sire again in 2023 with standouts like Barrage at Saratoga.
Here's Barrage with a final surge. Barrage got him.
War Saichi dominant on the dirt at Finger Lakes.
War Saichi has scampered well clear. War Saichi all the way with the top spot.
And Danzig Queen on the tap of the surface at Woodbine.
And Danzig Queen will come away and win by a length.
Consistently producing winners on dirt, turf, and synthetic. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.